A triple kill, but Son of Finn, he'll deny the plant. He sees 2 more kills. Oh my god! Son of Finn will find more!
7 seconds left, they gotta pick up the diffuser, but Dami lines up both! Dami with the 1v3!
Device, misses shots, he's gonna have to go for the front.
Oh,
He pushes
Dylan!
on through! Dylan is better!
Round 2, and there's another as Tyrant is finished off, and they all line up for Bone!
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for joining us here in the lower bracket. We've got a new face coming in tonight at SCS, and I couldn't be happier to share this wonderfully close game that is going to really keep us all into the mix. It's Corbeck coming in for your first SCS cast. Man, what are your thoughts?
Very excited to be here. Didn't expect to be here either, so it's good. I'm glad that I was able to fill it this last second, and I'm honestly genuinely really looking forward to this game. Stickula, these are two teams that have a lot going for them, right? We've talked. Arial Arise has kind of been in a position where I think people have been sort of doubting where they are, but they did a great job against Biblioteca. They're making a solid run at this to try and earn their place in the lower bracket finals and fight their way into even more prize money here. On the other side, you have Aggro, a consistently strong team, right? That's looking to just put an end to Arial Rise, put it to bed, punch their tickets to finals, and continue on with this kind of dark horse campaign to win everything.
We can talk a little bit more about that campaign as we look now towards the bracket and discuss everything that has gone on here down below. Arial Arise had that initial forfeit win over PDHM, who decided to put more focus on their Challenger League season. Then they proceeded to a match that I don't think really anyone expected to be as closely fought as it was. Biblioteca forcing Arial to go forth to all 3 maps just a few days prior, and that one really left us with a clearer picture of where Arial Arise stand now, because earlier back in the quarterfinals of the upper bracket, Arial Arise played like T4. They were not playing at their usual height for a team that is so incredibly talented and is stacked with experienced members. So now they move forward. They have a little bit more gusto behind them into this final lower bracket round before we progress to the actual finals itself to take on Aggro, a team that are not exactly scared to come into this one. They have played plenty of high-level competition.
Oh, very much so, and a very strong team statistically as well. We'll go ahead and bring up some stats here for us to have a look at, and you can see kind of right off the bat, right, just these overall levels. Eddie and Splash both making their appearances on multiple lists, but that being said, Arial Arise, Stickula, is running with one of the best sort of pair of entry fraggers, opening kill players in the form of Og and Adapt, and they're going to be really relying on them tonight when this game kicks off. This is going to be an uphill battle, right, for Arial Rise. They're going to have to rise to the challenge, and the people who are going to lead them there are definitely going to be those two. I think we'll be seeing them kind of trying to get early picks and make things happen, and they're going to be going up against Eddie, a player who just continues to be impactful in all his rounds. You can see that impactful round there stat right there on the screen, 70% for him overall. Eddie, again, round survive, 41%. He's a fragger, he really is. And then obviously Silent backing him up, one of the great support players of SCS this season, has been doing a spectacular job, gets the plants down, does what his team needs him to do.
Yeah, really, Aggro are incredibly well-rounded, and that has been a huge benefit to them this season. We can look now towards the rosters and get a clearer picture about how these two stack up against one another. Ratings are fairly close, though Aggro, their superior performance in the group stage allows them to edge out their opponent just a little bit with a near 1.10 rating. So far, the round differential for Aggro has been immense. Plus 42, usually you don't see that in a league that has had such a high level of competition like Season 5. Not many teams lagging behind, so to play with the plus 42 round differential, not to mention that across both sides of the bomb for Aggro, attack or be it defense, their win percentage is incredibly high.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, you look at that defensive win rate stat down there for Aggro, 68% for them, and that is no laughing matter with the amount of rounds played that they have. I mean, as you pull up the overall stats here, you see those ratings, almost all of them right above the 1.0 kind of average, 1.22 for Eddie, 1.21 for Splash. I mean, pushing the boundaries. They've got good entry fraggers, but again, to go back to it, Aug and Adapt here, look at those numbers and differentials in terms of the opening kills. It's actually spectacular how good they are at that. And I mean, do you see them kind of being the difference makers, or do you think this is just kind of Aggro's match to lose, for lack of a better word?
Yeah, I think I definitely see where that could chime in here. I think it'll be up to Aug and Adapt to step up, and so the blame or the focus going to be placed on Aggro. How are they going to shut this down? Their defensive win rate is impressively high, so how are they going to structure themselves to try to stop and put an end to that entry duo, which combined has nearly an entry differential of 30 kills total, which is really impressive just because of the level of competition to compare that to. It's a stat that really knocks your socks off. The staff vote a little bit more decided towards Aggro, just because I think the staff kind of recognizes you can count on Aggro to be consistent. There are some asterisks, some question marks about Arial's performance. Are they going to choose to try and play their hardest tonight? Are they going to show up on the playing field? How is that all going to turn out?
Yeah, with a community poll, a little bit more optimistic for the side of Arial Arise is sitting at a solid 50-50, right? So teams are, the community perhaps expects to see a banger of a match. And I mean, I do think this will be an exciting game. Like, I do think both of these teams, great gun skill, right? We know Aggro kind of prides themselves on their ability to play, well, as their name says, aggressively, right? And come out with good gunning. And on the other side, Arial Arise is another team that really prides themselves on their gun skill and has done very well across a lot of maps in making that known. If anything is going to slow Arise down, though, it's kind of the elephant in the room that I feel like neither of us have touched on yet, Sticula, which is this kind of locker room, not drama necessary, but locker room rumors that are circling about the team, and this idea that they're kind of at the end of their rope, right? There's not going to be much more of them. We know that Dami already said on Twitter he's done with Arial Rise. He's stepping away from them. He's going to play out SCS because he's not going to leave them in a lurch, but he will be gone after this. And that is the rumor that is kind of swirling around the rest of the Rise players too, is that this roster might just break up. And I mean, I'm not a sports psychologist, right? I'm not a coach, but I have to imagine that has to have an impact on a team that's trying to make kind of a come from behind playoff run.
All right, let's look to figure out where exactly this match will be taking place. We'll go to the veto and kind of decide where the battleground will go down. Immediately out of the gate, you've got Aggro removing Chalet, which makes a lot of sense. Arial have had some pretty decent performances on the map recently. Cafe is a curious ban for Arial because I would have figured their insta-ban would be Oregon. They are not a terribly strong Oregon team. The effort on that map has been a little bit lackluster, and some of the VODs you can go back to look on that for Arial. It's been a map that they really tread lightly around. You've got the Coastline pick coming through from Aggro. Well, definitely befits their name for that map. Always one to watch for in terms of that aggressive play. Arial begin on the defense. Villa up next. That's Arial's pick. Map that they are incredibly good on. And one thing to really look out for on Villa specifically is what role does Dami play? Is Dami going to be playing on the entry like he did in the previous lower bracket match against Biblioteca? Because Dami usually, he's like insta-lock nomad. He very rarely goes away from that flank watch position, but now he has been playing a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more towards that entry focus on the Zofia, and he played lights out last time we had him on broadcast.
It's interesting that you say that, though, because Villa actually is a dominant map for Aggro, right? I think they were sitting at about a 82% overall win rate on this map. This is really, really good for them. Like I might even be their highest win rate of any map that they've actually played a substantial number of rounds over. So when Arial Rise came out and picked that, I think I was actually like, whoa, like this is a bold choice, right? You're trying to make a statement here and come out on a map and maybe sneak a win out on a team that really, really knows that map. That being said, this choice by Arial Rise was probably driven by the fact that they did so well against Biblioteca the other week, right? Coming into this, Villa was kind of one of their big upset maps where they kind of put things together. The group stage was not good for them on this map, but coming into playoffs, that was a big win. And I can't help but imagine that maybe some roster changes, some confidence there coming off of that influenced that choice.
Final map here will be Clubhouse, but we're going to be taking a short 3-minute break, still working a few things out behind the scenes. I'm sure you'll want to jump into this game as soon as possible, so don't close this tab and stick with us.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the SCS lower bracket matchup between Aggro and Arial Arise. I'm Corback, joined here by Sticula as we get started on Coastline here with the operator bands. Arial Arise going first here. Sticula, what do you expect off this initial ban?
Well, Coastline is one that does have a little bit more variability. Sometimes you'll see kind of ranged hard breacher like Ace. Also room for the Nomad ban, which is curious. Arial will remove that. Allows a little bit more flexibility. Nomad can add a lot of structure to teams because look at Coastline. There's like 2 staircases. You're either coming up white stairs or you're coming up the cool vibe stairs. Nomad's got 3 air jabs apiece, so toss one down on each staircase and you've got an extra one for, I don't know, inside the objective late in the round to cut off a rotation. And that's going to mean that the defense can't flank you, can't cause any issues. But now that she's banned, the defense gets to play a lot more flexible. And the Lion ban additionally really is going to add to that. You're not going to be hard fought to find a defender that is roaming free reign, being locked down. That's just not going to happen. Defense, Falcon ban, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. She's such a strong operator on so many levels, right? Great guns, great camera, everything to hate, really, in an operator, but she is quite strong. We'll see what this final defensive pickup is here, and that'll be Arial Rise banning out Malusi. So nothing too surprising there either. Malusi kind of a perpetual nuisance, right? A perpetual thorn in the side, and a ban that they have favored a couple of times as a team. So an operator that they do kind of like to see off the board as we get ready to get started. Aggro will be on the attack. Arial Arise on the defense. We've seen Aggro play this map not very much. We have quite a small sample size. The size is a little bit bigger for Arial Arise. It's not been a bad map for them at all, but at the end of the day, Aggro might have a slight advantage here just based on gun skill alone. And as we all know, right, Coastline has a reputation for kind of being a gun skilly map.
Yeah, you've got to be able to kind of beat your opponent to the punch. A lot of rounds on Coastline are defined by the success of the attackers in that first step of the execution, that first step moving in as you define what your attack is going to look like. If you slip up on that, if the defense is putting up a fight and they force you back and you waste too much time, you expend too much utility and you lose too many lives, that can really hamstring you in a way that does not benefit teams on Coastline where there is very little room for error. Aggro are going to look to get this one started. They've got the Jackal being brought by Oni. You might be surprised to see Oni in play here. Fortunately, I have to say, Splash has increased his total numbers of games slept through by just one more, and Oni's going to have to step up for his team. Looking over on Arial Arise, this roster, nothing really too surprising. But Echo for Plantain Isle and Adapt bringing some extra intel to bolster that as well, though.
Yeah, Maestro can also help a little bit with that Plantain Isle too if they so need it. And he's a popular pick on Coastline. We see a fair few teams run him. Just thinking maybe we should get that stat added to the stat sheet for Splash about sleeping through things. I don't know what the abbreviation is going to be for that one, Stigula, but I'm looking forward to seeing that recorded. Anyway, we get started here, and already, of course, the default cam getting knocked out immediately. Oni here going to play up towards the lobby. Of course, the Jackal going to be good for kind of doing a little bit of anti-roamer now that you don't have that Nomad or that Lion in the mess. Eddie here thinking maybe about just going in through the front door, but he'll switch off, and it's Kix who gets the early pick. Aggro takes Woods right out of the equation, right off.
Not even giving him really room to breathe here off the bat. Woods will die and smoke canisters will be removed. Trying to get this pressure going for Dom. He'll rotate away, not keen to stay below for too long as you've got Og, the dual threat roam presence as well. So far, Aggro looks like they're preparing for what could be an aquarium side execute, though their map control not totally negligent with Oni searching, trying to find any of these aerial members as he meanders his way around the main lobby. You have Og waiting up above. Arial Arise are in a decent position. They have lost their smoke and they're in the 4-on-5, but they're still holding around the map and there isn't really much horizontal pressure coming in from the northeastern corridor. And then stacking up, Asian will hold from below. As Oni has got the flank covered. Aggro look like they're preparing to go for this aquarium push, but we're going to have to deal with all that utility, all that intel that stands in the way as the yokai drone below the billiards table, proving to be quite difficult to clear.
Just stuck it right up in there. You can't quite get it out. You can tell that they really want that plant, right? It's a good angle to come from, but Og there takes Oni out of the equation, so evening it up to a 4-4. Now Eddie has pushed in for the plant. The default behind the bomb right there gets it down, and it is down, and there goes the post-plant situation, particular.
You've got the case down and Arial Arise on the hunt. They're going to have to force forward, but Spiker will isolate one. Eddie hangs out behind the bomb chassis for far too long, and Og will double up as he collects his second kill. Silent and Kicks their field position, quite troubling in their health, incredibly low, but Maestro for the swing and the pre-fire is there. Kicks will battle off, and he threads the needle for the headshot, but the Echo at the swing. Spiker's able to shut him down, and it's just up to Silent, but Og is nowhere near his teammate. They need to get back and support this, otherwise Spiker could get shut down. He'll try to defend the case, but there's Og for a huge triple kill play as he'll stop Silent, and Arial Arise will manage to get that counter disable.
Whew. Better late than never, right? With the cavalry showing up just in the nick of time there. Echo, I think, was in a bit of a spot where he's about to get pushed, and the Vigil swings in at the last second and saves the day. But a good defensive hold. Probably didn't quite like the fact that they got that awkward take off, right? You would have liked to have maybe seen them stop that before it could go down, or at least before Eddie could get the plant down. But in general, that is kind of one of the typical attacking strategies we see on Coastline. That quick push in, and not really anything surprising in regards to how Aggro played that. That being said, it's a good start for Arial Arise, right? This is something that they want. If they can get out ahead early on, Sticula, that's going to be really good for them moving forward. It not only does it, benefit them score-wise, but it builds some confidence as well going against a team that, at least on paper, is stronger than they are.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as
I feel
many
like this
bombs
is
as
really
they
going to be one of those games where it's one round by round as they're clawed back and forth.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you look at Aggro, they shape up as a really strong team. How is Oni going to influence that? Is he going to have as much impact as you would expect from Splash? And what is Arial really going to look like? I feel like it's fairly difficult to predict Arial Arise in their playstyle just because I don't know if they really have a full understanding of what their playstyle is themselves. So how can your opponent look into that and decide, you know, this is going to be the playstyle they'll implement, and here's how we're going to try to strat against it. Arial kind of shuffle things up on the daily. They're very flexible, which is a good benefit to have as a team. Always like to be flexible. Coastline is a map and benefit from that in some regards. Moving into round number 2. Bit of a switch up here for Aggro. They're going to bring in the Zero, an operator that we see sometimes in place of that Nomad.
It's interesting here because they've not really played very much Penthouse, and they're choosing it as their second point. I don't actually think they've played it as all. Maybe one defense they've had here overall on all the times they played Coastline. So it's a bold choice here, giving them something, a taste of something new. And we'll have to see if Aggro's been kind of studying any footage. I don't think they would expect this at all as kind of the second choice pick. And obviously, Master Bedroom Penthouse has also sort of fallen out of fashion as the secondary site that a lot of teams go for here. You would much rather expect Kitchen or something like that. A couple of roamers throw down. Speaking of Kitchen, oh my gosh, I completely confused my bomb sites. I am so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Stick, when are we gonna tell me, man? You're just gonna let me let me on that one. I was like, oh, what's Smoke doing down there? Oh, there he is. He's playing out. Anyway, it's it makes a lot of sense. I was like, man, I can't believe they're doing this. So bold, so brave.
It would be awkward to see Arial pull that Penthouse pick out thus early. Fairly common to see this vertical extension play through. Adapt for the first. Nearly takes out Asian as he flicks from the sledge at long 90 back to the Ash. Asian is down and out. He'll need a teammate to come support him as Spiker. Smoke will clear, and the intel is there. Tommy for the confirm. Jackal teases the angle, but he'll fall back inside Guitars. This is that first step failing that I spoke about, but Oni, he's able to wrench it back. Arial Arise kind of recognizing that the benefit of this vertical extension is run its course. They're going to fall back, return to the side, and play this 3 versus 2 advantage. Silent and Noni still in a decent position utility-wise. You've got Sam Cams, you've got a secondary breacher, you've got the Aqua breachers from Silent as well if you're trying to get open the quad wall. Arial really just have to hold out and wait back. No Nitro left in pocket for Dami. Spiker's got one if he wants to fight against a vertical play, and for Woods to still have all 3 smoke canisters would be quite troubling.
You'll see Silent here taking a look at White Stairs, but he's actually going to just background through luggage. The cams are on there, so they've got decent information. Already a Toxic going to come out. Just throw that on the door. Oni here just trying to get an angle, kind of any progress at all. 36 seconds left on the clock, so the ticking going down. If you're going to make something happen, now that is making something happen. Oni swings in on the backside and gets a quick pick right there. Woods throws the last of the Toxic babes out, so those are all gone now. No more delay off of that. 20 seconds now, ticking down. Oni with the feet peek. Oh, he finds Spiker running across the no ID on the Mira. Silent going ahead and throw the plant down, but that will be a kill on Oni. Now he has to come off the diffuser. He has no choice. Great play there by Arial to shut that down.
Gotta give credit to Woods. He might not be the most flashy player statistically playing on that hard support position, but he can be counted on when it comes down to the clutch, when it's getting the case down or stopping the attackers from doing just the same. He's always there waiting in the depths of the backline. We'll go for the replay to see how this round played out. Oni made a really good attempt. He was able to isolate those gunfights, and Arial didn't look as comfortable as you would expect them to be in that 3-on-2 man advantage, flexing away from the objective and trying to take those individual battles with members of Aggro away from the site itself. With 2 wins in pocket, Arial Arise open us up at an arm's length advantage, and they're going to look to get that for a third as we head to Blue and Sunrise Bars.
Yeah, Oni did a great job kind of opening that up for them, pushing the right angles, getting the right kills exactly where they need. And he's going to come back out here one more time on the Zero. It's interesting to see the Zero in play, right? He's an operator that I think for a lot of people, they were a little maybe disappointed in the way his kit worked. We all expected those camps to maybe be a little bit quieter for the man from Splinter Cell, but they are not. They make a lot of noise, and everybody can kind of notice them. But setting up the sort of typical defense down here in the bar's site, which for me is so funny coming kind of from a ranked background to suddenly see that one raise in its value quite quickly. And you'll see those mute jammers going down as well. That secured corner there by the bomb, so popular in that regard. Og now just doing a little creative remodeling down here in the in the security office, as you do. And why not? He'll go roam back up on the top floor now, where the visual will be a constant threat here to deny any vertical play whatsoever.
It is quite a troublesome thing to take down Og, as he performed so well in the first round. Early threat coming in from Towel's side. You've got Silent for the ADS burn. They're looking to get the shield cleared right on the opposite side of this dual panel. The nade goes in. Will it be successful? No. It seems as though the ADS has been allowed to hang around for as much longer than you would predict. And ADS's causing a lot of issues there. Aggro not as coordinated as you would like to be in clearing that deployable shield, with lifelines wasted, and Eddie really accomplishing nothing with them. You wouldn't have been able to use them anyhow, as now Spiker will take him down. Eddie having a slow start to Coastline. Not that player that you really want to be lagging behind in the rest of the team. As Arial look like they are totally prepared for this engagement.
Yeah, the last person you want to see go down first, right, is Eddie, kind of your big gunner, your star player, for lack of a better word. Silent up there on the top deck, taking a good look. You see Woods pulling out the C4 really quickly, debating the use of it. You hear the rip, but he might still hold on to it for just a little bit more. I think they might have thought that someone was up in hookah, and they were partially right, but the rotate through has already come. Kicks now pushing down Cool Vibe stairs will trigger the barbed wire sound cue right there, and Adapt will now wait the patient game on the mute. There is a jammer on those stairs as well, so they're going to have a hard time getting a drone down there of any meaningful value. Back to Woods, he rips the C4, he goes for the fish. No, he's going to hold on to it just a little bit longer. He could get a kill right here, though. Sledge opening up the floor above him. The C4 comes out and kicks, will escape with about half their health left. Asian gets one, Asian gets two for Aggro, and that might just have opened things up.
That's so unfortunate. You've got Dami coming in for the chase. It looks as though Oni has evaded detection and evaded capture as well there. Any members of that on-site presence now gone. Dami coming on for the flank as Spiker lurks in a position you might not be expecting. Ash will wait. It's through the opposite side of the wall, but Spiker's position now known. Kicks is down by Dami up above in the meanwhile, but Oni is there to clean it up for Aggro, as they will get their first round through. Really a chaotic one, but that big play coming through by Asian, waiting on the Cool Vibe stairs and striking when his team needed it most, propelling them to victory on the double bars objective.
Chaotic and Coastline, though, Sticula, kind of name a more iconic duo right there in the world of Siege, right? This is totally what we'd expect. But the person who's kind of impressed me the most right now is Oni, who's come in as a substitution, like we said earlier on, off the back of Splash not being available. And he's doing great work on the Zero. He's been there for his team time and time again, getting kind of really crucial picks. But I can't help but wonder if that entire round kind of went a bit wobbly from the very start for Arise the minute, or I was going to say for Aggro the minute that Eddie went down, but Arise just kind of got hemmed in, and suddenly they were leaking bodies and they were leaking presence, and it was just a matter of kind of cleaning up after those 2 kills that were taken by the Sledge.
Getting that competitive game that we had hoped for, and really living up to it so far. Aggro, bit of a struggle on the early round, that utility usage, but their guns came through and they clamped down on Ariel's roam in a way that hadn't happened so far on the coast. Really able to force them into uncomfortable positions, and then the cutoffs well prepared to make sure that active execute went about as good as you would expect it to. Aggro did almost have a tiny chink in the armor there, with Spiker just waiting inside of Towels, hoping that he would go undetected, but alas, it's not to be. Heading to hookah once more. Aggro's entire game plan seemed to be take control of the mid floor as much as you can. Maybe try to isolate a few defenders here or there with an eventual focus of making that progression towards the bomb site. The one important factor to think about in that previous round on Hookah is the fact that it was Woods who was the opening death. You lost your smoke canisters, not able to stall that push right onto the side, and the denial really lacking as a result.
And Woods has to know that too, right? And we'll assume that maybe he's going to change his positioning a little bit and maybe make a better effort not to kind of be the initial frag here. Kix is just going to go ahead and drone out Aqua, going to get a good look in and see what they can do. Obviously, it looks like they might be going for a similar attempt to the take they tried last time, taking control of Aqua and pushing in. And Og here on the top of White Stairs could push back through luggage and cause some serious problems if he so chose. Might actually be the end of that. Dami down on Cool Vibe gets a couple of initial shots in there. Can't really bring anything down. Asian underneath him. Blue Bar again in position to push up on the Cool Vibe stairs. But Eddie already in Aqua here. Sticula already droning out and trying to make this play. Kix is going to back up and support him on this as well. And this is exactly what they wanted to see.
And you've got the Ash below providing security, making sure nobody from Arial can try to sneak through there and get a Nitro into action. Woods plays such a tentative angle on the vertical play, hoping that the Ash extends her presence more towards that eastern section behind the blue bar. Utility will go out aggro for the burn as they begin to make that next step towards getting the plant down. Still worried about the Yokai, however. Spiker is really not keen to get this shot out. In fact, he'll go back to play it passive. To drone on his way over there towards the drone hole. Aggro, no opening death so far, but the same can be said for Arial, who continue to hold out, playing for time and waiting ever so patiently. Woods is stuck, though, pressured by Asian playing below with the vertical hole open. Now it's going to be a tough one for him to try and get into action. Eddie will begin the plant, but he's going to stick it to Zoe all the way through the smoke. It doesn't work. Eddie's going to lose his life for a play that has no benefit. But in the meanwhile, Asian will pick the head off of Dami. Og for the instant trade. Aggro's manpower really dwindling by the second. They've got 40 seconds. Still, there's a huge play to come in down the corridor. Oni just completely working his way behind the lines, but Og, there he goes again. The vertical play as Kix tries to get aggressive. He's shut down. Just Oni left in a position you might not totally be ready for, but Spiker's there. He'll get down, but still claims the frag for Arial's third defensive win.
It was almost like a switch was flipped the moment that Zoe plant did not go down. So close, to be honest. Actually, like right there on the tenderest of margins. Did not get it down. The smoke grenade perfectly well played there to deny. And yeah, it was like the minute that the plant strategy kind of fell apart, the rest of Aggro was just like, okay, well, we'll try and kill them all now. And they just kind of face checked a lot of corners right there, sort of yeeted themselves in, trying to get those kills right up until the bitter end. You kind of saw Zero swing that door. And I mean, he did get the knock, but he died for it. I don't really necessarily know why that switch happened. It kind of felt like that was their one strategy. And when they were denied it, they did not really have something that they quite wanted to flex back onto. We'll see if that maybe sort of tactical inflexibility dogs them a little bit here as they go back to this kitchen site. You know, nothing too surprising in terms of the setups, very similar to what we saw last time, and they did put in a really solid performance here when we were on this site. Oni did great work just kind of slowly clearing up the main corridor, getting a couple of kills as were needed, but you'll see Spiker up here just trying to secure that verticality a little bit, Sticula, and prevent, well, them getting around on top, which is where you want to be on this particular side if you're the attacker.
Vertical play definitely needed. Aggro want to get that leverage onto the objective. They tried to play vertically on Hookah in a way that we don't really often see. Tried to isolate the smoke, but it just didn't work. Not a sharp enough angle for the Ash to be able to collect the kill. Last time we went here, I think Arial made the right decision in how they played it. Aggro got a few picks early on, but Arial were there to play the trade game. And they recognized as soon as they had claimed the advantage with about 80 seconds on the clock, it was time to drop back to hold a little bit more passively. I want to watch how Aggro play this, though, this time, because last go-around, they had a very aggressive entry that fell flat, and there wasn't that duo support that you would expect going in, kind of a lacking of the buddy system. Though maybe Aggro looking to approach this differently in what seems to be the beginnings of a horizontal take.
Yeah, it does actually look like they're going for the horizontal take, and they're playing it, and they're taking their time here as well. But look at how many members of Arial Arise are not on site, right? Kix is trying to push up here through security office hall. He's going to see if he can get down there. Dami waiting for him on this mute, just hiding around the corner with the SMG-11, but they're all playing off site. Woods is the only one who's there, so a complete denial, right, of these outside areas, intentionally meant to just waste time, burn as much time as possible. Oni there checking the SAM cams real quick, seeing what he can do with it. You'll see Og throw out that magnet there, so they'll have that little bit of intel in the pocket. And again, the horizontal take continues. Woods is under a lot of pressure right here, playing around this bomb, just firing shots almost blindly towards the door, seeing if he can pick anything up, but it's just not happening. And still, the vertical pressure not being applied. It still looks like they want to go horizontal.
Meeting so much resistance, and it looks like Aggro have kind of met an obstacle that they don't totally have the full capability of getting over with. Adapt lingers, waiting around inside the courtyard. As Oni will pick off the opener with Spiker down. It's going to allow a little bit more flexibility, but the trade is there immediate, as Eddie will go down 0-5, having a really troubling game. Silent now taken down as well. Woods will chip in the headshot for the Ash player. Aggro only 2 men alive to try and come up with the clutch. Stationed outside here, waiting inside jungle, but as Oni goes down, the pressure resides entirely on Kix. He'll get peeked from both angles, and that's another Arial Arise win. Their defensive performance racking up wins, and seems like Eddie, he's just not home.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with him, Stick. This is... I mean, I don't want to say it's unprecedented, and I don't have, you know, the history in my mind to say that it is, but this is a little crazy. You would expect a lot better from Eddie. We mentioned him in the pre-show. We mentioned him a couple of rounds back, right? This is the gunner. This is the guy that you rely on to get the kills, to do the work. He's one of the best players in SCS in terms of a lot of stats, right? Survivability, impact, not here at all. Completely checked out on these rounds. 0-5 is really rough, and especially on a map like Coastline as well, which should theoretically favor a player like Eddie, who has great gun skill. But I mean, look at him sitting at the bottom of his team's leaderboard, and I can't help but feel like that lack of presence is carrying over to Aggro as well. If you had told me, Stick, earlier on that Arial Arise was going to go up 4-1 here on Coastline, even on the defense, I don't think I would have believed you. Genuinely, I think I would have called you a liar, which would have been rude considering we just met, but there's that.
Yeah, this is a kind of an issue for Aggro, who can play well across both sides. We have the statistics that back that up. Yeah. Overall, they play much better on the defense, but it's not like, you know, they're kind of shoving their attack win percentage in the closet. No, it's still decent. It's still, you know, close to 60%. But Aggro, this is their map selection, and it's really looking like Arial Arise have beat them to the punch in a lot of different ways. And with Eddie not contributing, who knows what effect that's having and what frustrations it could be causing for the rest of Aggro largely as a whole. Og is making an aggressive play. The Cojones for him just to peek out the hookah door, try and challenge Aggro and let him know that this is his map.
Oh, very bold play there from Og on the Agruti. Really wanted to just get an early tap, but also, you know, plays a little bit of a psychological game to a certain extent, because now you're thinking, okay, well, are they going to try that next round or the round after that? And how's that going to go? Asian, a little bit of a flub there. Catches himself, I think, with his own breaching charge at that point in time. Not too great, but that's all right. Dami back up here, just waiting it out, holding that position onto the balcony through hookah, and you see Og and Aqua as well. So the vertical control here, at least for now, those roamers ready to go. Oni has been a key factor in... Oh, he just swings the corner. Look at him go. He didn't even hesitate right there. He took a nasty chunk of health for that one, though, Sticula. That's 75% you're not getting back anytime soon, but you get the kill out of it.
Yeah, some risk versus reward, and there's another showing of it as Dami tries to go for the C4 play. Asian was going to let him know about it as Control of Cool Vibes is secured. Adapt will divert its attention. He's focused on shooting that intel. The barbed wire is breaking. Adapt wants the swing, but Asian holds back, still playing keep away. Such a tentative battle, so close between the Ash and the Jaeger to see who will win on the battle of the staircase. Hesitancy now for the Jaeger, giving up the game of playing aggressive. Just gonna wait, hold down this position. At this point, Arial Arise cannot afford any more losses. To lose, Adapt would compromise jungle position and would give Aggro basically free reign to charge forward here. We'll have a Wamai Magnet delayed and shot out. ADS is doing their job excellently, and there we go. Some of that frag grenade utility being removed, proving to be so difficult in clearing this shielded position. It's like we're in the utility meta all over again, as it's really not going to be easy to uproot Spiker now. The ADS is soon to reactivate Eddie. He's out of lifelines, kicks, no more frags. It's going to have to be the Ash to come into effect as Oni isolates Woods from up above. Spiker on his lonesome now as Adapt is the only teammate left alive to try and support him, but they've got the Aruni laser gate back in action. Spiker, though, he'll get felled. Silent chips in for his first kill of the game, and Aggro coming into fine form in their final round of the first half as it's a flawless round.
There you go. That's what they wanted to see right here. The exact kind of finish they needed. Give them out that little kick, right, to get them pushing through. Great play all around. And I mean, big credit to Spiker, who did a really good job holding up in the corner there behind the shield. The util clear, like you said, absolutely bananas there, Stigula. It did feel like we were back a minute ago with all the denial that was going on back and forth. But at the end of the day, just actually a really clean attack from Aggro. The flawless round speaks to it, but in general, they did a good job of playing multiple angles, shutting things down. And credit as well to Asian, who I think really, many an Ashman I think would have been tempted to take that cool vibe stairs engagement head on, but playing patience there, playing wise, and just kind of backing out. And to a certain extent, I think it was leaving Adapt to just sort of wait in that lobby area, because once he knew that the Ash was there, he did not want to move off the cool vibe stairs, so he was just kind of rooted, waiting in the hallway, and that kind of allowed them to set up a lot of other plays around it. But now we flip sides. Aggro has their chance to take over the defense and shut this down, and they're going to start on Kitchen. You'll see Silent throwing up the mirror windows in all the familiar places. Asian there taking up the vigil for that top floor roam. Kicks coming out on the Mozzie here as well for just a little bit of drone denial. Oni will play the smoke, so he'll kind of be the hard anchor. I'm interested to see here, Stick, whether or not they'll play way off the site, kind of in the manner that we were seeing out of Arial Rise, or if they'll play something maybe a little bit more conservative and a little tighter.
5 seconds left before insertion.
Just thinking Coastline in general so far. Aggro's stats, I don't think really totally show what this map is capable of. Their defensive win rate, I think it's like 40%, but you have to be very careful with the way that you look at these strategies, and I would emphasize that even more so when we're here at a T3 level, because from game to game, a lot of things can change. Maybe you completely switch up what strats you're running. That matters a lot for Aggro on their defenses, and the win rate could be negatively impacted if Eddie is not able to find his rhythm on the defense playing for that. Jaeger, his team has been nice enough to allow him to continue running more aggressive role. See if eventually he can develop something with a little bit more gumption. You're on Coastline on that entry position. It's Arial Arise looking for control up by that west side. Penthouse and Billiards focus on the round. But Eddie and Kicks not going to make that terribly easy.
No, certainly not. Eddie there throwing down the ADS just to add a little bit of extra protection in theater. Asian actually playing on this angle, waiting. He's got a pretty good idea that we're going to see somebody coming in through hookah, right? It doesn't take a magician to expect somebody to maybe make that rotate. Whether or not he'll manage to get the pick off of it is another matter entirely. Spiker there as well, just kind of doing some droning for the team, as you would expect a Zero to do. And Dami drops down into security here and now has a bit of a choice of directions, playing very tight on that wall. I think he expects somebody to be right around it, but instead he's just kind of hold that rotate for now. And it is, in a lot of sense, a little bit more of a conservative defense we see here, Stick. You'll see a couple of the roamers kind of working their way back. Asian still up on the top floor, but that mirror window providing good sight lines into lobby just allows them to cover that position quite well. Spiker's got some great Sam Cam set up, though. He's got good lines of sight, and he'll make use of it.
Roam presence still alive and well as we head under the 90-second mark. Arial Arise perhaps thinking about beginning for the challenge. Asian doesn't even have really much to support him here. He's just playing for the vertical game. One swift lifeline to come out of Dami could immediately disrupt this. It'll be a breaching round that opens it up. Asian is just ready there. The Vigil looking for the contest. He wants to take this fight against Arial members. The Ash waits on her drone as the Vigil will tease it, still waiting inside the bookshelf. You chance shots, but Og doesn't really look like he wants to commit. No battle being taken, but the time is critically low. There's Spiker. Shut down Eddie. Not managing to recover that position on the round. 25 seconds to go, but a big flank comes by. Kicks distracting, doing his best effort as Woods will recover the case, but only 25 health, isolated and waiting. The red nitro will he get the detonation off? It looks like he's shot before he even has a chance to, but Woods cannot afford to be distracted here as he'll go DBNO in the smoke canister. Confirmed now by Asian. There's a 2-on-4 in the bomb site, and Mira will rip right through him. Silent for the triple kill. Aggro with another showing on the defense. That Mira player stepping up and putting the team on her shoulders.
And what brawny shoulders they are, but it was really kind of Arial Arias giving that one away to a certain extent. Played that very slow and very hesitant. Like you said, Asian was kind of playing up there without support, and Kix was up there with him. You didn't feel like they had any particular utility or tool that was allowing them to anchor themselves in that position so hard. It almost felt like Arias was just really tentative in pushing out those roamers, and by the time that they started to make plays, the clock was already down to about, well, I don't know, 45 seconds, and that's not entirely unexpected, but at the same point in time, they were kind of making the plays before they had efficiently cleared out the verticality of the roamers above. I do not know where that tentativeness is coming from, but they've got to kind of get rid of that bugbear now, or that's going to plague them across the rest of this map. This is a map that encourages you to be aggressive. It encourages you to take fights, right? Especially against unsupported roamers. You can't just sort of leave them and let them do their thing for so long. And yeah, I don't know. Got to get rid of the timidity, especially with Eddie kind of, laying a bit of an egg so far here. You cannot be afraid, right? You've got to make the plays. Their best gunner is on his back legs. Now's the time to make some moves.
And you really can't miss this opportunity now. Eddie is having a troubling match, but Aggro are still making up for it. Just imagine what this would look like if Eddie was winning his battles. I mean, if he starts to rev up, it's going to be over for Arial. That could be just something so difficult to try and counter. The fact that Aggro have 3 rounds won so far and nothing having really had impact from Eddie on the kill count, that could be real nightmare in waiting. Got more of a VIP overtake this time rather than that direct pressure coming in from Aqua that Aggro tried in each and every one of their hookah attacks. I like this idea. You do have secondary hard breaching gadget, which is the one thing that I would immediately think about. Are you going to be able to open up that 90 wall? Because getting that sight line to try and contest from inside VIP towards the innards of billiards and kind of by the drinks bar can be incredibly valuable once it becomes time to go for that execute push.
You'll see they're kind of just playing around the top of the white stairs there. A good attempt at a wall bang, but it's Eddie down here. He's getting tracked by the Jackal, a familiar feeling to many a player who hates the sound of that little R. You are being tracked. And Asian here down on the bottom of white stairs now, just playing this cautiously, right? Basically looking to push back up, and now he will be the victim to be tracked here. Dami now pushing towards the entrance of Aqua from Luggage. Woods there with the Jackal does have that ping, so he's aware of the positioning here, and Asian has actually backed all the way off. Will now finally come back here, so he's not too afraid of the Jackal play. Og has a good cam on those stairs though, so that will allow them to hold it out to a certain extent. Og keeping an eye on the cameras for them as we kind of begin this push back in towards Billiards. Again, a similar attack route to what we've seen before.
And we've sort of reached the util burn phase where they're going to try to get rid of some of these evil eyes and make that force on towards the objective. Meanwhile, Aggro still have a decent bit of off-site pressure. Asian lurks below inside the office. 2 impacts for him. That could be quite decisive. We'll see him open up a space below and behind the Aqua bar. Make sure nobody from Arial Arise gets too comfortable waiting behind there. Looks like you've got Spiker kind of lurking over by the hookah balcony. I wonder if he'll be that X factor. Just as I say that, will you believe it? Spiker opens up onto Kix as they were not prepared to deal with that hookah side pressure. Here comes the push. The real meat and potatoes in this round as Eddie's tagged up and he'll get the trade. Down Zog in the meanwhile, but Woods is keen to continue the plant. Silent will rip on through as he steals out the kill from Eddie. Not hoping to get much done at the start of this round, but Asian will now go down. The Maestro stuck and cornered inside of hookah. Arial Arise explode onto the objective, and they're going to clean things up for a win in round number 8. You got to give some credit there. The way that they attacked that, just the right amount of aggression.
That was a lovely bit of siege, really, Sticula. You're right. They played that pacing perfectly well. It wasn't like the previous round where they kind of took things too long to get going. They knew exactly when they had to make things happen. They got aqua control and they just started rolling. And some great kills early on, really the difference maker. I thought for a second there with Silent and the Alda playing out of hookah that maybe we would see things swing back in their favor. It was great pickups from him on the Maestro, but at the end of the day, in that post-plant situation, just not available for them, not able to kind of make it stick on the refrags either. And even Og, kind of threw in the Candela, didn't get a ton of value off it, got killed as a result, still wasn't enough to take the wheels off that attack. And again, this is looking good for Arial Rise. This is a situation I think is a little unexpected for them. I would imagine that they are in fine spirits right now starting this attack. This is a good map for them. Coastline has been kind of one of their favorites throughout, and it continues to be their favorite here today. You'll see Silent throwing those Maestro cams down as per. Kicks now coming out on the Pulse, a pick that I definitely don't disagree with. Pulse is a very strong operator in so many regards, but he's just having a little bit of a lie in there, Stigula, behind the couch. Hiding from drones? I'm not sure what the idea is. You're much wiser than me. Can you tell me? Stay AFK?
Maybe he could be.
Getting another Red Bull, feeling himself up.
Oh yeah, you're gonna need it here in round number 9. Aggro cannot afford to let Arial push up to match point. That would mean pretty much certain disaster at this point. Nick's gonna play a service row for the Pulse, hoping that maybe Arial will push into Penthouse and get a little bit too complacent, not be prepared to have the floor suddenly open up below them and totally devour them, as a sudden nitro cell from Kicks could certainly be. More of that aggressive style of siege. Og has got the Candelas for that final push onto the objective, but Spiker from the reverse repel and Dami through the wall. What a start to the round as Eddie and Asian just got completely dispatched. Arial Rise with a perfect demonstration of how to clear that far side roam, but there's Kicks for that cardiac sensor. He'll get adapt away. You lose the set of the frag grenades, but with Eddie and Asian already down for the count. Not the trade you're looking for, but Oni just peels one off inside luggage.
Beautiful battling back right there. Oni doesn't want to give them the control of Aqua, but is kind of forced to back up. They even that up in great fashion because that was a start that could have killed many a team. So showing some spine right here. You see Og droning in through kitchen again. Spiker continuing to hold this roof position, looking for another pick. I think when he got his first one, he was playing off the window back in towards luggage. Kicks here as well, not really able to get full value out of the Pulse right now, but that's fine. He did his job. He got one from below with the C4, exactly as you would expect. Woods now in Aqua on the Jackal will go ahead and just drone this one out. Takes a quick looky-loo onto the site, goes for the other angle, and that's some really good intel right there. I don't think there's any way that Silent will know that he's been, silent pinged, for lack of a better word, and this is setting up kind of be a final furious attack right here, Sticula.
Spiker in one of these traditional positions, looking for the cutoff as Og tries to play the close angle, but is getting not much out of it. In the meanwhile, Silent has found Spiker, shutting down that westward window play. It's Woods and Og going to be the difference maker if Arial are to take this to match point. Aggro have battled it back after the initial death of your Jaeger and Vigil, having nothing lost so far. See them force on through. Pressure coming through from the Candelas as Kicks takes a mighty amount of damage. Oni, he's damaged too as Woods charges forward for the plant. No remaining nitro cells are going to have to go aggressive, but Og just through the mid side, ripping and tearing, but the Maestro is there. LMG for LMG as Oni got the down for the shotgun. Aggro in a closely contested round, and Og nearly making that one workable.
Oh, Aggro. They should be thanking whatever stars they've wished on, because that did not look good going into that 2-2 with the plant going down and everything else, but spectacular recovery across the entire round, Sticula. They started off with kind of a disastrous set of kills. They pulled it back. They tightened up their defenses. The roamers came back exactly like you needed them to. The Pulse was up there in the site to play the protection, and a great job from your anchors right there to finish it off. You could not expect anything more from a Maestro and a smoke player than to lock that down and win that round out. So all big credit to them, because I will tell you, I was a little tense for him there for a second. It was not looking spicy at all, but a clean finish. Now they'll go back down to kitchen service, once more taking this site in line. You'll see kind of the same picks that we saw last time. Silent once more bringing the Mira, and last time we were down here too, Silent did do a really good job with that Mira, like you said, I think at the time. So they kind of put the team on their back and carried them through. So this is a site they know how to defend, and hopefully this will give them the opportunity to push this to a 5-5 game. They continue to play quite well, considering kind of the circumstances that they're having at the moment.
5 seconds to go.
Just a thread.
Heading out to defuse a bomb.
The lead being hung on to for Arial, 5-4. Hoping to close it out here. If not, it's likely that we're going to have this Coastline be a overtime struggle. Aggro looking to surge back into the game. That same aggressive style of siege. It seems like Aggro, or rather Arial, have found their composition that they want to play. This could be a service rush. It seems like that might be the idea here. You've got members in position outside the door. An aggressive Candela launch deep. The smoke gonna have to run, but he's flashed. Another Candela toss as well. Now smoke grenades for the coverage. This could be a fake option. I wonder if Woods is sneaking around somewhere else, because you've got all this utility coming in. You've got shots from Og to try and distract, but the plant just isn't here. And it's such an unusual attack strat. Aggro just falling by the wayside. Arial, a successful fake over towards services. Now they have control of kitchen. They're going to try to make this one work. The Jaeger spotted around the corner, and this strategy, such a complex one, but working wonders, is now Kix's position is revealed. Arial have 5 men alive just for the single Mozzie to try and fight against. With the plant coming down now for Woods, the case planted, all that pressure rests on Aggro. This looks like Arial seizing the moment. They're not going to let this slip away from them when they have a shot to claim match point and to push this one step closer towards the eventual Villa.
Kicks there. Oh no. Woods finds him. There was no way. They had every angle covered. 5 bodies alive. And you can't, I don't know if you can see me right on the scale. I'm grinning from ear to ear. That was an entertaining push. They ripped that straight out of like Sun Tzu's playbook. And he was a diamond, so he really knew what he was doing. But, you know, they showed strength where they weren't that strong. They showed weakness where they weren't that, or where they weren't that weak. And they turned that into a huge play coming off of that backside. Adapt just came in on the sledge and started cleaning up. So much attention being focused on all that utility that was being thrown into service entrance. I mean, I can't blame Aggro for focusing on it. You've got 3 Candelas going in. I think it was maybe 2 smokes that got thrown in there as well. It definitely was an all eyes on me situation, but just the perfect execute on the other side of the map to clean that up, and suddenly the site was under their control, and poor Kick standing there on Cool Vibe stairs just sort of watching the world go by, not really a choice. They'll try kitchen again, so they're going to give it one more go. Maybe they won't quite be as prone to what happened last time this round, but that being said, you now have to do a little bit of mental calculation, right? The mentality is here. You're going to see all that util invested again on kitchen service, and you do have to be like, well, what if they're trying to bait us again, or is it actually going to be a push? Is it the famed double bait? I don't know which it's going to be. And they're going to be in a difficult position. Like, I do not envy them this at all, because the mind games, I feel like, are real at this stage.
Yeah, that is a rare sight to say the least. I'm glad Arial pulled that one out of the bag. It totally worked and fooled Aggro to an extent that had not happened so far this game. Rome coming on by. Arial don't have that same eastward stack up the service door. This is going to be more of a top-down approach. Come in, clear the roamers for Aggro, and try to take this at a 7-4 in regulation before we have to see this one drag on any longer. I'll remind everyone watching, this is not Arial's map selection. It's Aggro who have chosen to go here, and Spiker waiting up on the top of the courtyard. Guts down Kicks. The Mozzie is not ready for it.
It's not Arial's map selection, like you said, but it is a good map for Arial. This is, like, I think one of, if not their best map in the pool of choices. So it's not entirely surprising to me that they're playing well. I think what's more surprising is that Aggro seems to be playing kind of poorly. Specifically, we've mentioned it a couple of times. I'll mention it again. Eddie is sitting at 1-9. Which is shocking, like actually shocking in terms of a performance. But you'll see Dami here at the top of luggage just going to take a quick check down there. Eddie, oh, he just can't find the kills. You feel the tension in him, Stick, but he just can't bring him down. He'll get one finally. Asian gets in on the act, but then Eddie traded out almost immediately. A flurry of violence right there, and then a bit of a lull as they kind of reassess in this 3v3 situation.
Arial Arise for brute force control of the top floor. They've got the vertical game to begin as time steps lower and lower. Eddie managed to claim a kill, which is good news for him, but it's really just one kill in the larger scheme of things. As it's still a 3-on-3 on site, and the gunpowder for Asian, Silent, and Oni in their weapons is frankly underwhelming. When you look at Arial, they've got a Type 95 LMG, 81 bullets just to kind of rip through anyone to step in its way. You've got Dami, the R4C. I don't even need to explain that. It just speaks for itself. The utility here, really the only thing worth to mention is the fact that Oni has got 3 smoke canisters left, and there are 40 seconds to come. Laser gate has not been burned. Oni's going to try to play for close control. Canister to go up. They'll detonate it early. Candelas begin to sound off as Silent still lurks within, but great play by Og. He'll find one out through the vertical game. 2-on-2. Coming down the last and final seconds of this round as Silent holds back. Waiting at the bomb chassis. Adapt still looking to try and thread the needle, but he'll give it up on the vertical play. It's going to be Arial to try and force it in. Coming in from service, the smoke for the cross. So close, but he'll bail off. Look at this move, though. Aggressive for the lineup. Silent for 2. Aggro are going to hang on for one more round. And that Mira player is so lethal when it comes down to these kitchen service defenses.
The chef is in town and he owns this kitchen. Look at him come and make that play. That is, I mean, okay, I'm not a top level Siege player, but I would not expect that movement. It was beautiful. The wraparound, it was absolutely unexpected for Arial Arise too. Completely got caught off guard, and Silent has stamped their name hard and firm on that kitchen site. 2 spectacular rounds there coming out of the mirror, and you'd love to see it. That being said, I mean, it was a really good attack from Arial. It just, you know, that last second, they had a little bit of time left. They were kind of forced into a situation where they had to go for the service door plant, whether they liked it or not. And they just got a little bit, you know, outplayed, bamboozled, what have you at the beginning. A payback, perhaps, for the previous bamboozle on that site. But now, back up to Hookah one more time, and we'll see here. Nothing too surprising. Kick's going to come back out on that pulse. What they cannot afford this time is a repeat of what happened last round. They were here where they lost 2 in about 2 seconds up there. I think around the luggage hallway down in that general area. Cannot lose those lives again, so they've got their kind of standard that they have to meet. We expect Kicks to get a little bit of vertical play here as well. Last time they were on, he did his job, right? He got a kill with the C4 up through the C4 up through the floor. I guess you could call it a C4 stick, for being honest, because that's generally how it's used. But he made it work on that pulse.
One notable change is the fact that you have the Rooney coming in place of the, I think it was the Vigil that we had on some of the earlier Hookah defenses. It looks a little bit better, I think, honestly, just particularly in that last round. Oh, Kicks the jump out, but Dobby's just ready for it. What a monster play. Over aggression. Kicks is gonna suffer. Loses the nitro, but Woods has got the cutoff, but he misses the opportunity. What? And he just totally gets rid of Woods. Say good night. What a play.
Oh, you love to see it right there. What two spectacular set pieces of action. Kicks going for the full body yeet through the window. Could not get the land, but then Eddie finally getting himself a little bit of credit, trying to re-earn some status right there. A great kill on Woods, who must be feeling a little sheepish right now, but Adapt with a great kill through the floor right there. Takes Asian out of the equation. And now 3v4 situation building up here towards Hookah. They'll lose a drone. They've still got some intel coming in. Spiker playing that window near luggage one more time. Oni here and Aqua going to retreat back towards the bar and then kind of rotate in towards the site. Something similar we saw last time. Silent there with the cover on the the LMG as well.
Well, we've been tiptoeing around the idea of Eddie's performance being lackluster. For this to be match point, the final round in regulation, he's already got his first kill. For him to start to heat up, that could be massive. Eddie's the one to make the difference. He'll wait inside base as attempts it. Few shots. So Eddie will begin to be droned out. Silent, though. Looks like his Evil Eye will get broken without even having to have some utility used for it. Dami for the breaching round of frag grenade sent all the way back, but Silent is ready. That Alda on a punch hole. Talk about stacking the advantages. Time is low, and Spiker's back out on the Hookah balcony, but in the meanwhile, Adapt has been choked out by the toxic canister. That's Aggro moving themselves back into a 3-on-3. This defense certainly workable, despite an overwhelming presence. Og has managed to still hold on to a large reserve of that utility for the Ying. Got window pressure as well. I like this. You're distracting Spiker. You're forcing him to worry about the possibility that there could be a Hookah swing to try and go about this, but Eddie is not really playing fully into it. He's not getting aggressive because he knows he doesn't need to. The time is so critically low, and the distraction is there as Eddie tries to refocus. He'll move forward, and Oni, a second kill for the toxic canister. Eddie starts to heat up as it's just Og left. He'll hold Mouse 1 for as long as possible, but Oni just dancing around the spray. Aggro are going to take it in round number 12 as they're pushing us forward to OT.
What a great execution on the defense right there. I love what you pointed out about Spiker just kind of trapped right on that window angle. You would want Year Zero to be applying that cross pressure. Couldn't do it because he was so nervous about somebody coming out of the hookah door and taking the shots on him. But Eddie earning his way back into the good graces, right? Great round there from the Jaeger player on that one. Got some big pickups, got an early kill, and then finished off at the end as well. And I will say I did love Oni's just little swing out there to the sideline and just popped up, took the kill. It was great stuff, but a really solid, well-orchestrated defense, well played from them indeed. And now Eddie showing us, oh, the man, the myth, the legend. He showed us the Warden here in overtime. I can't imagine why he'd be bringing him out. Maybe it has something to do with that propensity to play the gig and get a little tired of getting consistently flashbang, but it's always fun to see a Warden out on the field, and it actually makes perfect sense. Unfortunately, there will be a rehost. Oh, right when the action was getting good, Stick. That's unfortunate.
Yep. Well, I guess this is probably about as good a time as ever. We'll have a little bit of difference in time set between the end of regulation and the beginning of overtime for this game. Of course, SCS has infinite overtime, so this one could be heading for a bit of a longer game than we might be expecting. So far, Aggro really starting to kind of reel it in as they get better on the defenses, but there's still that Arial Arise energy ready to close this out and race forward at every option.
Very truly, you feel that strength kind of building. Arial Rise has done, I would say, better than expected so far here. They have 100% come out swinging, and they 100% want to make their presence known. And if they can steal a cheeky win here off of this map as we look forward to the next map, Villa, which is not a strong map for them, that would be huge, not only in terms of their mental, but just also in terms of kind of putting them ahead in this series. Meanwhile, this overtime break, I think, is probably going to be really good for Aggro. It's going to give them a little bit of an opportunity to just sort of set the wheels right, maybe do a little bit of talking, possibly even take Eddie aside and figure out what's going on right there and see if they can get him back in fine form, because they're going to need his gun here, Sticula. They're going to need it. They've been feeling the loss this entire map.
Yeah, I feel like Eddie has kind of gotten that boost of confidence that he really needs, started to heat up just there in that final round, an important kill that he earned in, and it just transitioned. I don't know what he was doing, just sort of ran buck wild through the kitchen, barricade opens, and just like a snap of your fingers, he rips away the player outside of that window, and that's what you really need to see. Eddie, maybe he had a tough start, but what does that really matter now is we're in overtime, and it's kind of a blank slate for these two teams to begin again. With infinite overtime, you don't have any questions really to answer about who begins on what side, because we get to see, at minimum, if you are able to claim the favorite side, we're going back and forth all night, and SCS has really had some lengthy games once it comes down to infinite overtime. Just specifically in recent memory, Arial Arise versus Biblioteca is one that really used that infinite overtime feature.
It did. This was good for them too, because this is a situation that they've been in before to a certain extent. These kind of intense overtimes. They should be feeling confident right now. They should be feeling happy with how things have gone. Obviously, I think they just wanted to close the map out. They weren't quite able to do that, but pushing into an overtime situation, if I was sitting in Arise's shoes, I would be feeling that confidence boiling up inside of me, because this is doable, right? This could have easily turned into a situation where they came out and, you know, Aggro just was too aggro and shoved him into the dirt, and Arial Arise couldn't rise to the challenge, but they've done so in fine fashion right here, and this is an overtime that might even favor them to a certain extent. I think we've got most of our players back in the lobby now as well, so hopefully we'll be getting started right back into this. That little break, however long it was, could be big for the mental differential, but will it be big overall for the map? We get started here with Aggro on the defense, Arial Arise on the attack. And I'm not sure what site we're going to see coming out the gate here, but I'm assuming I can make some guesses. Aggro might actually favor going back down to kitchen, if I'm being honest, Sicula, because it's been pretty good for them. But no, just to prove me wrong, they'll go back up to hookah, because where else would you go on Coastline?
Yeah. The one thing about SCS is when we're into overtime, if there's a rehost and we get actually into the round itself, you've got to pick the same operators because of that sort of like continuity element. You can't be like, oh, we're going to go to the rehost and then play the Tachanka and bring all these other weird operators. No, you got to just kind of stick with what you had. Yeah, I certainly can.
Could you imagine a Tachanka? I'd lose my mind. I'd be so excited. Poor Tachanka. I feel so sad for him because he was a meme, and now he's not even that anymore. But anyway, perils of that particular Russian aside, we'll be back on the map here, setting up for hookah. Eddie will be on the Warden. And again, I think this Warden pick to a certain extent speaks to his building confidence in the round, right? This is a great this is a great pick for him. This is a fun character in a lot of ways. He's kind of a meme, but he's really strong against Ying, and that's why they brought him, and it makes a ton of sense. Because to a certain level, Og has been relying on this Ying to make things work. But anyway, we'll see Kicks here on the bottom floor, just kind of wandering around. That Vigil coming back out again. Asian will be playing the Aruni right here. Oni coming out on the smoke one more time, so kind of doing that anchor job. And Oni and Silent have been so solid at anchoring this hookah point. I can't expect them to do anything less. Eddie here is just going to play tucked up in the right side, or right there, snuggled up in the corner of hookah, I think waiting for a quick push, maybe to come out of the gang, which is a strat that we haven't seen too much before. Asian, on the other hand, is waiting for that window to open and will take just a little bit of damage right there to start things off. Spiker playing that window one more time. It has kind of been a favored hunting ground of Spiker, and he's gotten some good kills off it before, but he will not get it this time. Asian is able to fall back fast enough. No, Asian came back out, maybe took the gunfight there. We didn't see it go down, but regardless, the Aruni is out of the game, off the board, and the Zofia will have entry on this window if they so choose.
Drones up and running.
Good start for Arial in the first round of overtime, and at one point I quickly have to make, Spiker is really underrated on that window play. Yeah. Whether it's with the Zofia or it's with the Zero, it seems like he's always got this ability to just work his way into a position and find a defender that is unprepared to take a battle against him. Offsite roam for Kicks, kind of lurking below. We saw him do this previously, sort of played for the impact, tried to hunt a member out, but maybe they're looking to put some more pressure on him. Saw the Ash just outside of the door there. The drone is in as well, so they're going to know that the Vigil is around at least. As much as he'll try to use that ERC-7 to hide away, eventually, The game will be up, and Arial Arise are going to recognize that he's in there. Moving on through, a great pinch by Dami and Woods. They're going to shut down Kicks and put themselves up by a 2-man lead. The advantage building ever more so in round 13.
Kind of a textbook robe clear right there, actually. Take note. I mean, it was just really well done. A great pinch. The good usage of drones there to kind of keep the vigil guessing, and Kicks couldn't really do anything as they just pushed on him and clipped his wings. 3 to 5 now, so time to start circling the wagons, but you can already see this vertical play is going to be a problem, and they know that as well, and they're going to have to play around it to a certain extent. Woods will be moving up to the window right there for a split second, just trying to provide a little bit of distraction for his team to set up in a couple of different places. Oni's going to take that opportunity to push back into Aqua, and the actual push should be coming in at any moment now because they'll swap hands on the diffuser. Great kill by Eddie right there to take him down.
On the Candela, really not giving any breathing room for Silent. August going to force his way in, spots the smoke, and having some difficulty getting the kill, but that won't matter much when you've got so many attackers ready to bear down on the final defender. Arial Arise, an incredibly talented attack round, which will put themselves up by 1, stepping onto overtime match point with an opportunity to close this out unless Aggro can fight back going into the next round.
Yeah, I love that attacking round from them, and I'm glad you mentioned Spiker, actually, and how he's been playing that window. I was going to talk about that after the game, but really, I feel like Spiker's just been underrated in general. He's been doing a really good job of just getting early kills and causing havoc, and they kind of keep falling for it, because they knew that time that the window was going to be played like that. They still tried to challenge it, and Spiker was like, it's fine, I'll take that. Thank you very much for your lifeblood. I'll let that power my team through all the way to the site. But looking ahead now, it'll be a hookah lounge billiard room defense here on overtime match point, and there's probably not a better site for you to be on this particular map. And Oni will be back on the 0. He's done great work on it before, but you see Spiker setting up on the Echo and Adapt on the Maestro. They've done pretty good job with both of those two anchors to sort of slow down plants. I think almost every push by Aggro has been an Aqua push to try and get that bomb plant down, and they're 100% expecting that again with this setup. And I don't necessarily know that. I mean, Aggro probably needs to pull out something just a little bit different here, and maybe bringing the Hibana in on this is something that's going to enable them to do that, Sticula, but they just can't be predictable. It's looked too predictable on Hookah so far, in my opinion.
Attackers' objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it. Attackers have dropped the bomb.
Oh, I certainly wonder how Silent is going to fare with a bit of a switch up in the operators. He has felt fairly comfortable so far in a lot of the different hard breaching categories. Oni has looked stellar playing the 0 so far, rivaling Spiker in the effectiveness of that Sam Fisher operator. Got Aggro for vertical control looking to move in. One thing that characterized their attacks on this site in particular was a heavy emphasis on pushing in primarily from the Aqua side of things, not really trying to make a 90 play or open up some of the wall, but with Silent coming in now, that could be an option. We'll just have to see what his position is, if it's going to be for the courtyard wall, which is bandited courtesy of Og, or if he'll manage to put any of those X-Kairos down on the VIP wall. Certainly looks like he's not going for that route so far. Maybe he'll put the X-Kairos more towards one of the walls inside of Aquarium itself. I would maybe guess, but I don't know yet. We'll have to see if he repositions, because I feel like opening the VIP wall at this point could be very beneficial.
Yeah, they might be looking for a really long sightline through VIP with that Hibana. It's just a thought maybe of what they intend to do with it. Dami down there in Sunrise, not really too fussed, happy to hold out there for as long as possible. These Maestro cams from Adapt do a great job of kind of covering that expected attack angle, but actually Oni who throws the charge there down on the wall. Silent, meanwhile, up in Aqua, kind of looking, well, won't be looking much longer because Spiker plants one right between the eyes, and there is an opening planted. Spiker again, attack, defense. Wherever this man goes, he gets the opening kills, apparently.
Seems like there is a little bit of intel. They know one is waiting inside of Smoke Spot and trying to use that opening made in the hard wall to leverage it as much as possible. Kicks is a bit concerned still thinking and keeping in mind what could come through from the hookah balcony. The time is getting awfully low. Arial Arise in the 5-on-4 as Aggro's attack is struggling and Oni seemingly unaware of the drone hole. He'll be dealt with. And Arial, for their match point on their opponent's map selection, looking like they're about to step off of this map and head to the next. This could be a moment. Aggro really have got to try and step up here. Eddie needs to make a play. He has got to be that one. If there's any round, it must be this one. He'll take a tiny bit of damage. Asian's gonna go aggressive, but in the meanwhile, Spiker and Og both get kills. Waiting close at the wall. Asian making a huge play, but it just won't be enough. He'll get the trade, but Coastline is over with. It's an Arial Arise 8-6 victory in OT. Infinite overtime, just not needed here.
Spectacular stuff there at the end, and Arial has to be on cloud 9 coming out of that. Not even their map pick. They get the win, and you see Spiker right there, a well-earned MVP. We didn't talk about him too much until towards the end, but he felt absolutely impactful that entire time. Sticula getting those early picks. I mean, that last pick that we saw right there with the Echo, I feel like that could not have been any more kind of clinical. He just spun the corner, got the headshot, and went right back onto the cams as if nothing had happened. I kind of love that level of cool, calm, collected coming out of him right there.
That was just such a game for Arial, playing at their height and showing Aggro who's boss. This is the Arial that we were really expecting coming into this one, and maybe it's Aggro having to play with the sub. I certainly can't say that Oni had a disappointing game. In fact, he was one of the top performers for Aggro, and I think the stats will really illustrate that. He has been playing as good as you could expect him, and Aggro fell short. It seemed like something was missing here in terms of whether it was the coordination, the chemistry, or maybe just today was an off day for Aggro. They have the difficult reality of looking next towards Villa, which is a map that there is a lot of Aggro film on. It is a fairly decent map in some of the showings that they've played in. They had a few early regular season wins, including victories over teams like Synthetic, Neo, and PDHM. In the postseason, though, will these stats manage to stick around? I don't know just yet. They had one win against Team Bone. It was a 7-2, but I think this is really just going to come down to, is Aggro comfortable, and what does Arial Arise do that they know how to play with? Because Arial looked strong on Villa in a lot of their recent VODs.
Yeah, you're right. They have looked strong there. They picked it for a reason, right? It's a weak site for them, kind of statistically. It has not been, that's largely because of group play. It is not a weak site for them in the playoffs. They did well there previously. They could do well there again. You know, I would give Aggro the kind of heavy favor on it because overall their global rate has been 82.95%, which is really, really high, right? Like, oh my Lord, that's high. And that's over 35 rounds played. So that's a lot. It's a great map for them. They have to find confidence. And if you're going to find confidence, going into a map that you are statistically kind of dominant on is going to be that wellspring that you're going to reach into, pull that up and get it going. And they need their players to start coming alive. Specifically, they need Eddie to start coming alive. They just need their top gunner right now. And that situation cannot be even more apparent, right, than the situation they are in, down to 1-0 in an elimination round against a team that I don't think they expected this much fight out of. And all credit to Arise for putting in great work on Coastline. It was a well-played map from them. They could have buried that, I think, before overtime. A couple of maybe slight misplays putting them in that situation, but no hesitation, all confidence there. They just punched through it and got their victory.
Yeah, I feel like you kind of can't afford to underestimate Arial Arise at this point because, yeah, there were, you know, a few weird rumors flying around, and Dami says that he wants to quit, but Arial Arise look like a really good team currently, and maybe that's going to give Dami a boost to come back and have sort of that that enjoyment of sees that light become lit again for him and allow Arial Arise to continue what has been a long dynasty of flat-out championship titles that they have accumulated. Yeah. Though the roster has changed, it's still that same spirit of winning, and Arial want to continue that as much as possible I think Spiker has been a really strong addition to this team. The way that he has played has been impressive, and he fits a really niche role that allows Arial to play at a higher level and really compete at the strength inside of T3. I would expect Villa certainly to be competitive. I think Coastline was a bit of an unusual map, and Aggro didn't have the strongest performance on it. Maybe coming here was them seeing something that just didn't totally pan out, or I don't know, maybe they made a mistake in the map veto and we just don't totally know. With the stats that they have backing on Villa, I would imagine this is probably going to go into overtime again. And personally, I have to hope that we would see the full 3 maps, but Arial still might be able to lock this up in 2-0 fashion.
They might, and you know, it's given me big like Riders of Rohan, sort of Lord of the Rings energy. Like, if this is how Arial Arise is gonna go out, right? They're gonna go out into style. They're gonna make that last heroic charge and really make it count. And we'll go take a quick look here at the stats and see what we have on offer there. Maybe gives us a little bit of insight into exactly what was going on. And well, there you go. Oni really the standout player on the round. Spiker doing a great job on his side for Arial Arise, kind of the champion, right? We talk Oni did great, but at the end of the day, it was Spiker who was making the real difference. The entry frag differentials probably not, you know, exactly what we wanted to see from Adapt and Og, but look at how well Spiker stepped up into that role, Sticula. That is spectacular. A +6 on those early kills. Really great stuff, and it was really telling throughout all those rounds.
And 7 opening kills, period, for Spiker, really, across a total of 14 rounds. That's an insane number. To have 50% of the rounds, you're the one who kicks it off and you're getting the opener. Spiker really delivered a performance, and I think that could carry over to Villa. But that's the question that we still have to answer. We're going to head to a short break as we get everything prepared for the second map here in this lower bracket shootout. Stick with us here, though. In the meanwhile, a short intermission on the way. All right, Corbeck. Here we are. We're getting back into it. It's Villa up next. Excuse me, leaping over into the operator bands. I'm already getting so excited. I'm choking on my words here as we begin. Operator vetoes. Villa is one that you can predict, kind of similar into more of Oregon or a Clubhouse way. I probably would say Nomad could stick around. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Nomad remained. And oh, good God, it's like they heard me and they made a solidified effort, but they will take that Nomad off again. You know, she could remain, but she's also not an unwise ban. There's a lot of twists and turns on Villa. There's a lot of places you can kind of put those air jabs for sort of maximum annoyance. So I'm not surprised that she's been removed, and obviously that ban is not surprising at all. Thatcher, the eternal ban boy, kind of stuck in prison at the moment and doesn't look like he's going to be getting out anytime soon.
No, not unless there are some major changes that come to it. It's always helpful to have Thatcher clearing Electro Claws, Mute Jammers, Banshees, really the whole 9 yards. You've got Valkyrie taken away as well there. Intel is somewhat of a problem. You don't want to be locked into having to bring an IQ each and every round. The final defender is where things could get a little hairy. I wonder if we might see something like a Mira ban, maybe Maestro or Echo to come through here, or even a Cade at this point. We'll have the Malusi removed, so you won't have sort of that question of, oh, Thatcher is banned, but you know, Malusi is still up and in play.
Yeah, that's one that makes sense, I guess. The Mira maybe being left on the board. You know, she's one of those operators. I felt like Mira was doing so much work on Villa for such a long time, particularly on that kind of standard aviator study defense, right? You'd see the Mira up on the wall and everybody would be very afraid of it and you'd have to play around it and whatnot. But lately, in a lot of the games that I've been seeing and casting, I've noticed that she's kind of tapered off, at least in terms of how much she's picked. And you'll see here, actually, there won't even be a Mira. Instead, Woods is coming out on an alibi, which is genuinely a surprising pick for me. You don't really see that much alibi. She is not a terrible operator. It's just I feel like there are operators that are a little bit more impactful. Pulse there coming out, though, is a very wise pick indeed, though I don't necessarily know that the Aruni is the op that I would have sacrificed to get that Pulse in.
Yeah,
I'll hold all my comments until I see what Woods has got planned for the alibi here. It seems more of those sort of niche operators that have a shield kind of get a bit of extra credit in terms of if they're going to be playing or not. Specifically in that category, Frost and Warden sometimes are seen as sort of that auxiliary shield operator when, you know, maybe you're not totally bringing a smoke, but you still want to be able to hold back with a deployable. Wonder if maybe Woods is going to play it for main study control. A lot of times you'll see sort of that decision made if you're going to have a study-focused defense with ADS or any other means of utility there, or more of kind of a 90 orientation, which usually would be with a Goyo. However, Arial Arise not going to bring one here.
No, they are not. And like you said, I guess we can reserve judgment, right? As Sun Tzu once said, all men see the tactics that I use, but not all people understand the strategies by which I conquer, or something like that. So maybe we're about to see that coming out from Arial Arise. Kicks, however, we'll see the standard just emptying a bagged up into the door to study there. Going to open that right away. Asian, meanwhile, going to push in down below and try and set up that vertical control. Actually, might just take a walk all the way back around to the stairs. Og is down here on the Pulse, so they do have someone to contest these lower ground elements. Spiker there in the rotation as well, so two strong ops on that level, and it almost feels like Asian's just waiting for somebody to make their presence known. Silence thinks about putting down the Claymore and thinks better out for it at the end.
I wonder if maybe Silent thought that he had breaching charges from the fact it was the Claymore, but there goes Spiker as he crosses your screen. Sophia will go down in this roam, proving a little bit more troublesome than Arial Arise, or than Aggro are prepared to conquer and get done with. You've lost Silent, a key selection of that soft breach utility, the concussions as well. Eddie will finally secure the trade. It's a big move. Adapt down as well, but Eddie, oh no, the Gon 6 comes out. No handgun to try to dispatch of the alibi, and Woods will make a close escape. Now being pestered as you can hear the breaching round detonated above. Woods recognizes the danger of his position and his status being on such incredibly low HP. Man advantage here for Aggro as they manage to peel away with Adapted Dami going down. Og scare as he crosses into 90 and spots the replicator to Eddie, who still plays a little bit more passive. And so far, Eddie already 1-0. Could he perhaps collect the second? be a good start for him. You got to get that mental game going here early.
Kicks, takes the peek. He's got contests there, so it's not going to be something that you can walk into. Eddie here as well, just going to watch that doorway. They're kind of waiting for a defender to feed into them to a certain extent. Spiker there swings, but he won't get the kill. He just can't bring it down. The shots are pinning him in. It's Kicks gets one, Asian gets another. Two big openings there, and Eddie will finish it off, and Eddie finally coming alive. The Gone aside, doing great job, great work on the Iana to close this one down. Look at that. That's a beautiful angle. I love how they played that final bit of an attack there. A very kind of well orchestrated multiple angle push onto that final defender.
And a good clean out there for Aggro. Looks like they've found their form just one round into Villa. We'll have to see if that can continue on or if it's just one spark of life in a larger Arial Arise show. Woods, his play for the alibi, I don't know if I really see the benefit in it just yet. That is, it's such an unusual operator. The MX4 Storm is quite a powerful gun to have on offer. Maybe that's, the thinking progress here for Woods. I want to have a better gun. I don't want to be playing Warden and be stuck with the MPX or Frost and have that 9mm C1. I want to have something that's got a little bit of a bark, a little bit of a bite to it.
Yeah, maybe that is the decision that's going into it. I'm a newer person to Siege, so I just maybe don't necessarily understand the big brain strat that's being walked out there with the alibi. It's been one round. I mean, it's been one round, right? Maybe it just hasn't come alive yet, but we'll see if they can kind of make something out of it this next round. If not, you probably do have to reconsider bringing that op to the table. Obviously, she's the first one to get taken out, and oh, I thought he missed it there for a second. I was like, that is an absolute tragedy, but no, Donnie's got the good electrical set up right there to hold on to those walls into statuary, so nothing too much to worry about here. He'll go throw up those reinforcements on trophy wall as well. Spiker playing off site did get a beautiful pick early on in the last round, and they're gonna have to be a little bit more careful of that roam in. And it's funny enough, I think you were right when you said that Silent might have forgotten that he had a Claymore, because he definitely looked like he was trying to pull out a breaching charge and then thought better of it. But let's see how they make the entry here. Oni's gonna go ahead and push up to the top floor, and it's back to adapt to his holding that 90-degree angle.
On the bullet hole peak, but no luck for Spiker. Satasian who will claim the opener, and Silent just bulldozes right through the Mozzie. Aggro with a beautiful opening stint, and Adapt now down as well. Aggro have got their foot. They're stood on the gas pedal. And there's nothing Arial can put in the way to try and slow down this progress. It looks like a whole new team has stepped into the lobby. That break helping them well. Woods and Dami, it's up to them. They're going to have to hold this one back, but I don't know if I can see this happening at this point.
I don't know that I can see it either. You're right. I don't know what Aggro talked about during the break, but they got some of that Michael Jordan special water or something, as Silent just swings the corner and gets one more. The confidence in these gunfights. Asian knocks another down, and it's a flawless round for Aggro, and they are electric right now on these initial two rounds. Nothing like the team that we saw on Coastline kind of lumbering along. All aggression, all style, exactly what I was hoping to see out of them tonight, and they are delivering on this Villa map.
Wow, and just there near the end, Asian kind of warming up the crouch key just a little bit to rub it in for Arial. 2 rounds open and done with, kind of rewriting the story of this series. Trophy and statue on the repeat. Arial needing to rethink this strategy because their roam was punished. Aggro took really no prisoners there.
No, they didn't take any prisoners at all, and I don't necessarily agree with going back to trophy statuary again. I mean, there's kind of a, at least from my understanding, an unspoken rule on Villa that you don't really like to play maybe 2 sites in a row. That might apply a little bit more to Study Aviator, but I think we could say the same here as well. That being said, I mean, you don't want to bounce around between the two of them, and maybe they just feel a little bit more comfortable on this particular site. They clearly have the defense they want to set up, but yeah, those initial roam picks, Spiker in particular, who has been so impactful, just kind of felt like he really didn't even have a chance to do anything, just completely overwhelmed by the aggression that came out of Aggro right there. Dami will be picking up the Kaid again. He's sighting for something. I don't know what they necessarily want to put down. Og's going to drop all the way down to the first floor here and play out of this, as we kind of expect from a Pulse. He's going to throw up a couple of barricades there too. I think primarily just give him a little bit of an idea if anybody tries to kind of put in behind them. But again, last time the majority of that pressure was largely horizontal, so I don't know how much truck a vertical roamer is going to get on this site. And just by the way that I can see those outlines setting up there again, I think we might be looking at another horizontal push here from Arial on this round as well.
Just maybe. Aggro for the rotate. It seems like there's been a call made that this is going to be more of a master side push this time. They recognize Arial are playing a heavy extension, a lot of utility, a lot of barricades, manpower posed to try and stop this from ongoing. It's Aggro move in. The next step, likely this vertical control. Asian going to try to move in, clear out Tetris, dining, kitchen, all the works. Make sure nobody is lurking around. That's some good drone work here. I like the way that Aggro have structured their intel net, slowly moving and collapsing on defender positions. Adapt will shoot a drone, but he misses. In the meanwhile, finds another, and as he jumps up, the gun to the wall almost lines up on a member of Aggro waiting inside the kitchen. Asian kind of just holding off for the flank, and oh, look at this. Here goes Spiker, slowly working his way around the corner, but Asian is there in a big way for his team. They're gonna cut down Spiker, that entry fragging player, that opening kill dominator so early on Coastline. He's kind of receiving his own medicine here.
Yeah, definitely a taste of what he dealt to them previously. And I say that, though, Adapt does manage to bring down Silence, so they'll even things up right here. A couple of shots arcing in towards Master Bedroom, but nothing being brought down there yet. Asian there just going to smack the barbed wire for a couple of seconds. I think just trying to play those sound cues, see if he can bait anyone out into maybe a more vulnerable position. And Eddie now, with a good drone in here, just checks, gets an idea of where those electrocores are, and Asian going to bang up through the floor with that Ash charge. No pick, though. I think they were playing for somebody behind the desk. Couldn't find anyone there. Eddie, though, he's just going to walk up towards Split. He'll die for it. Woods gets that and gets knocked in return. The diffuser goes down. Asian, beautiful kill. Kicks gets two. Oh, look at that. Og with the deep roaming C4 won't find anything, and Kicks is just going to throw down the plant.
They're wasting no time here. They're going to get that case on the ground and leverage this as much as possible. Og tries to play for the cardiac sensor, but he is too slow. Plant is on the floor, and Og into the 1-on-2. Aggro trying to play this one. The teamwork needs to be there as Og retakes. Coming up the Astro stairs, you've got 1-0. Placed close on the bomb chassis. Not exposing himself, but a few chance shots over towards Og. He'll line it up. The headshot is there. Og, this could be winnable with 20 seconds to go, but it's against the R4C. Asian has not been stopped so far this game. 6-0. Og will try to run over. Thinking about the plant, but still being engaged. There's 10 seconds. He's going to have to find the kill. Checks one corner. Going for the next. He'll find the shot, but the time, it's too low. Og, no.
Oh, devastating. That's just devastating, Sikula. A Herculean effort there from the Pulse. So well played by Og to take back the site, to get those kills, but just took a little too long, a matter of seconds there to get back on the plant. Tragic stuff. Still, you know, he's got to be a little bit, at least a little bit proud that he was able to do so well in that retake. That could have been a lot uglier for him in a 3v1 situation, but it's 3-0 in the scoreline instead. And you've got to feel the sting here. They're going to go back to Aviator Games. And again, Villa, a defensive-sided map, right? I don't think there's a lot of people who would disagree. You do not like seeing, if you're on the defensive side, 3 rounds getting taken away from you here. And Arial Arise just needs to clean this up a little bit. They're making some changes, some choices coming in. Spiker will be playing that Wamai. He did great work on Wamai on Coastline previously. And maybe just a little bit of projectile denial. I don't know necessarily who for exactly. I haven't felt like projectiles have been super impactful across these rounds. Mostly you see the Ash charges being used kind of for that vertical play, but Iana does have those frags. They are a constant nuisance, so maybe being picked out for that.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about this. I don't know if I totally like the way that they have changed this approach. I think maybe keeping the Mozzie and even adding a mute might have had more benefit, because you watch Aggro and the way that they attack this, it's very intel based. They have a lot of information. It's not just let's walk into the site, let's run in and kind of just see what happens. They're getting the intel and they're making intelligence based decisions to try and formulate a capable attack, and that sort of intel blitzkrieg so far on Villa has been very successful for them, and they're not really looking to give it up anytime soon. Aggro have plenty of intel themselves. Not only 10 drones, as they have avoided wasting any during the prep phase. You've also got on top of that 4 SAM camps. Now we're up to, what, 14? And then any Iana drones, however many at a time. So that's, you know, about 15 sources of intel at once, which can be very overwhelming. Villa has a lot of cutoff positions. The Nomad has been banned, but so far that's not really deterring Aggro because they move so damn fast that it doesn't matter if there's a roam.
It does not. They got the speed right here. They're playing up to their name on a lot of these attacks, and it's paying dividends right here. Asian just on the lower floor. They're going to hold that angle for a second, and Silent will rotate down Astro stairs and make sure there's nobody lurking, ready to push back in. And there you see that drone work going out ahead of them. And you're right, the Intel Blitzkrieg kind of continues. They're doing a great job with it. Asian all the way up at the top of the stairs now, and they've got a good idea of where the shield is. The Zofia will peek and fire. He's going to have to get past the Wamai, but I think they still knocked it right there, and they will, I believe, take that shield down. So that'll force back into billiards there on that hold, and it was Spiker who was held up there for just a brief second. And we see Adapt now holding, rotating back through Vault.
Already that shield dealt with, and Dami having lost a big portion of his health pool. Mostly a turtle setup here with a little bit of an extension. I saw just a moment ago in the distance, it was Og playing for the roam. Seems like Aggro have heard this as well, as the Roni fired away. Aggro now have intel. Tough play. It looked like Og had kind of found an opening, found a way that he could sneak in, but he's just sort of waiting here. It seems like they're going to try to allow Aggro to kind of find this false confidence again, and then eventually that'll lead into a position where Og could come up from the run. The problem here is if Aggro sees site control, and there's not enough time for Og to flank back, as now he has been droned out, and there's more and more shots. Aggro can recognize there's only 4 men on site. Just do this. Just do this. Corbeck, get the case down. The Nitro will miss. It detonates and Oni gets out of coverage. Og will find 1 on the roam, but meanwhile, Adapt and Dami to fall in the middle of the objective. Og will still manage to stay alive as he continues to find these picks. But that roam pressure, that confusion, really adding on to this game. Spiker's been down. It's just Woods left inside the objective. Effectively, the Wamai, a human drone at this point. The confirm will be there. You've got the refocus. Ariel trying to play together, 1 at the top of the stairs. They're going to have to force for this aggro play, but Oni, he's shut down right around the corner. Woods is nearly allowed to stay alive as the time is so incredibly low. Kicks will take 1 away, but where's Og? He's just hiding out. He's running all the way away, and Aggro are going to lose it on time as Ariel simply don't give him the fight.
Oh man, what a good defense there at the tail end, really hold it down. Arial Arise not panicking that situation, playing it out quite effectively. I appreciate Og, discretion, the better part of valor right there. Stick, he just ran for the hills, which was exactly what you want him to do in that situation. Time is his friend, and he played it very well indeed. Genuinely, I thought at least that they might have had a good shot there when Oni came in for the plant, but the denial was there. They were wise to the game. You saw the C4 come out, the smoke come out, no hesitation whatsoever. And now we go to a site that we haven't actually seen yet. It'll be dining room kitchen, Mute being brought out, Mira coming in as 2, and then finally Frost, that auxiliary shield operator you were talking about earlier, will make a presence. It'll be Spiker who will come out on the Frost and throw down a couple of mats and, bring in the shield as well. All good stuff right there. As we see how they orchestrate this defense, again, probably going to look very heavily towards vertical control. That's how this site tends to trend, and Spiker putting a couple of mats basically for that purpose. A little bit of intel, and is he going to double up on him? That's cheeky. Now he'll reposition and go for that. It's one of those awful little Frost tricks that you sometimes see that just makes your skin crawl, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, I wonder if maybe this is Ariel trying to play for a hold inside of the walking class. They got a good mirror set. I actually like this.
I do.
Dami's got a sight line open. You can kind of check if somebody tries to jump in for walk, and Dami will be there for the shutdown. That's assuming that he doesn't get naded out by Eddie, which could be an option. I remind you, Ariel Arise not playing either a Jaeger or a Wamai. If Eddie's just spot on with the first nade, if you can get it, there's an angle you can toss through the skylight, or, maybe if he just finds it another way. Could be Dami going down quite early.
Eddie tries to find an opening pick right there. He does not get it. It'll be Haitian who gets Og looking. Whoa. That was awkward, to say the least. But they have really good drone intel on this little bit of defense right here. Eddie basically entirely aware of what's going on, just going to hop in through the window, hop back out. I think just trying to play the sound cues, put a little bit of pressure on Spiker, force him to play off. Great kill there on Aggro, the C4 coming up from below. But look at this drone. This is perfect. It's a dream come true. Dami's going to have to drop back down. Spiker actually gets the kill. But Spiker, I think, is going to sacrifice this position. Finally, he feels like he's done his job right there, and he'll retreat. He's being chased by drones the entire way.
Yeah, he makes the rotate, and with the mirror window watching the Astra position, can't say I really blame him. This is the perfect time for Arial to fall back, hold on to their man advantage, and maybe hope to play off the back of Dami and adapts Nitros. Maybe see if that'll be the plan. Woods has got the cardiac sensor at the ready, kind of sussing out the fact that Aggro are thinking about pushing forward the secondary breaching equipment for the vertical play. I can't say I've seen that one before.
No, I can't, but fair enough. Trying to throw those down, and well, a plethora of Hibana pellets coming out there as they just try and get that wall open, and so far not yet manifested. Woods stacked up here underground, just waiting it out, and Dami has a really solid angle here as well. So these defensive positions looking very strong for Arial Arise right here. Oni gonna try and get a little bit more aggro about it, start creeping down the stairs. There comes the frag grenade, and again, they don't have any protection for it. Woods just playing their best to play cover, gonna rotate around to the laundry door, but it'll be attacked on the other side of the map. Who will get a kill, and now Kix is pinched and knocked down, and it's a solid 1v4 here for Arial Arise. They just need to close it down. It's Eddie by the clock. He spins. He does not find the kill on Dami, who sweeps the deck right there.
Well, there we go. Arial Arise kind of recover their margin just a little bit, not looking totally down and out of Villa yet. Round number 6. This one is victory on the aerial defense. We would be heading at equal odds to the second half of this match. Tertiary site knocked out of the way. It's a return to statue, which so far has been 2 wins for Aggro, the second of which was a much closer and devastating round, given the fact that Odd collected all the kills in the 1-on-3 post plant, but ran out of time before he could manage to get the counter defuse off. Hopefully that one doesn't come so close to blows this time. Aggro have demonstrated the capability to execute both a master-sided take and as well the larger, more overarching study push.
They have demonstrated that capability indeed, and they are aware of this. Arial Arise know that this site in particular, I think, has kind of felt a little bit like a bugbear for them. I think they have about a 50% win rate on the defense in Trophy, so they've not really hit that yet. Funny enough, they only have, I think it was 33% on Kitchen, so it was good of them to pick up the win down there. But Og bringing this Goyo here, so they're going to opt for a little bit more shield coverage, and I do love a good Goyo, and I do love the good placement of Goyo shields, so should enable them to have just a little bit more cover. Spiker now playing the Kaid. I don't believe he played that previously. He's actually, I think, being shown where to throw the Electro Claws right there, and he will get them in the appropriate positions, and he's got a shield to play out of as well if he chooses to stay in statuary. Woods will back him up just a little bit there as well. Might have actually hopped over the balcony and gone down to take out anyone on the low ground. They've got Dami dropping down for the first floor roam as well, so they're investing at least Og and Dami down here on the low ground, and a C4 already kind of pre-planted there.
I think it was called out to one of the teammates. I saw the Z-ping there, but I don't know if that has been A, placed in the right position, or B, detected. It seems it won't matter as it's detonated. The nation will get an idea that there has been a defender recently below here. Aggro are good to have survived that for a little bit longer. It seems Eddie having to do a double take there as he moves through, not expecting for an explosion to be in the ground. The intel is quick, and it was silent as he'll inch his way forward, spots the Cade. Seems like he just barely managed to miss it there. Oni for the Lion as well. This is the first sight of Lion, I believe, all series. He was banned earlier on Coastline. Aggro, in the final round of their attacks, they want to play this shutdown, aggressive style of siege.
They do, and I actually love how Eddie was using his hologram right there as kind of a leader, a blocking car, if you will, for, I believe, a silent to push up behind it. They didn't quite manifest the kills out of it, but look at this push coming in on the horizontal attack here, really putting the pressure down. There goes a Goyo, so they will take one of those shields off the board. Dami, meanwhile, hanging out down in the basement. It'll be Kix who gets the opening pick, and Kix has done a good job in that position so far tonight. The trade coming in. Silent takes one down, dies almost immediately, still a 4v3 advantage, and there comes the first Lion ping, trying to see if they can catch anyone out looking. It has not happened yet, and Asian waiting, anticipating the push into Trophy.
Aggro have continued to slowly build towards this. Woods is managing to keep himself scarce here inside Trophy as Asian plays it a little more passive than you might expect, but overexposed. A quick reaction for the Ash player as Woods is shut on down, and it's left up to Dami, who now begins to be harassed since the R4C bullets whizzing through the wall towards Astro side. Diffuser down, the case on the floor, and Dami in a position that will be difficult to recover. Aggro are able to close it out before Arial secure their third round. We'll go 4-2, an arm's length lead, and Aggro still keeping themselves ahead on what so far has been a resurgent Villa game.
Very much so, and they go into the split, and they have to be happy about a 4-2 split in favor of the attacker on Villa of all maps. That's cheerful. That'll bring a spring to your step wherever you may be, and I loved that last attack from them. That was everything that they've kind of been demonstrating so far, that really good balance between aggression and intel gathering. There was a lot of patience there as well, just letting those kills tick up until they felt really confident to get on the site, force the post-plant situation, and just kind of put Dami on the back foot. Now looking ahead to Aviator Games Room, I think this is a very kind of expected defensive lineup. They will bring out the Mira here. She is good on this site. She has a lot of value to contribute to a team, and you'll see Kix already moving into a position to set those up right away. No weird alibi tricks here. Very straightforward defense in the traditional style, such as it is.
I suppose we'll give Woods a pass on his alibi play. He did manage to go positive through the first half. We kind of spoke about this idea of where is Eddie going to be on Villa. He's 3-3. I mean, hey, that's much better than he was on Coastline, where he sat with 0 kills for more than half of the game, I want to say. And, well, at least didn't get any kills in at least half of the rounds played. But now is begun to play much more with the team. Aggro seem to have found kind of that team play that they were looking for. They've settled in better, playing with Oni, who has kind of shifted into less of an aggressive position. He's letting players like Asian and Kix kind of be the leader, be that first step into the building, play their frags, and kind of respond off the back of that. The intel has been impressive so far, but now things shift over towards the defense, more around how you're going to play for the map control and what you can do to stop Arial Arise from taking it.
Yeah, and they've already got a pretty good setup here, right? They've got that brief contest on Master Bedroom, almost as much an intel gathering exercise by Asian as it was an actual kind of delay. They're actually going to loop back around here and play up the astronomy stairs, which is very smart indeed. Og now going to push down towards those astronomy stairs. This is a bit of a pinch. Oh, Asian had no idea. Great kill there for the Ash to open things up, and that'll give them, I believe, astronomy control and mostly control of Master Bedroom as well. I think they were expecting a much harder pick coming out of Study here, and they just didn't see it Stickula.
Yeah, you've got all the control over on the north side and an opening pick as well. That's really big for the attackers. A rank success, I call it, and it's going to allow you to play a little bit better. The fundamentals were there for Arial, the drone, to watch below. As soon as the rotate was in, it was called. Og reacted, and Asian was shut down. Pressure now towards the objective. It's mounting for Arial in the 5-on-4. Og is going to make sure to maintain security below, hoping that defense, if they come, will be ready to shut it down before it manifests into anything troublesome. They recognize there's a shield playing for 90 as well, though they have plenty of utility to try and get that down, even if Og and Dami fail with their explosives and Adapt has to use his frags. Otherwise, still got the Selmas in pocket, so really no shortage of means to try and clear out that deployable in the end game. And Og nearly lining up for a second as he began to try and shoot open Study window. Arial kind of stalling out just a smidge here. Still a minute left with a one-man up situation. This is certainly workable. It's all about how they transition now as the focus becomes more and more on the 90 Hall. Look at this. Eddie's been downed, and Oni is really the only thing stopping him from going down as he'll slowly work his way backwards. Gonna go for the res, but the aggro play, a big one for Adept. That confidence surging through, and the plant attempt is totally smoldering. Nitro toss through the air, it'll deny Spiker, but surely they're gonna get right back on top of this as Kicks continues to play for the window. The question on my mind, where is Adapt in this moment to be able to come in for games pressure? Finally, he arrives at such a late moment, but the down is there. We're back. This could be winnable.
Oh, Kicks gets another one off with the shotgun. This is amazing play from the Mira. This is winnable. Oh, no. Woods just hard holds the angle and Kicks walks into it. It was a beautiful attempt at a defense right there from the Mira player, but at the end of the day, this is the kind of stuff that you just, you can't even anticipate when you're in that situation. Or, I mean, I guess you can anticipate it a little bit, but you don't have the intel to know that it's going to be there, and it was a very solid shutdown. A good attack from Arial Arise. I really like what they did right there at the start. They kind of made it seem like they were going to come all yeeting in from Master Bedroom. They played a good split to force a little bit of pressure on Aggro's positioning, right? That fight in 90 Hall is one that I still don't entirely understand, and Oni there threw out that smoke, and it was very altruistic, let's use that word, of him to try and turn around and get Eddie back up, but I just don't know that that was necessarily the play right there, and he paid for it with his life and with the life of his teammate ultimately.
Here we go, underway with the next round of the second split. Arial Rise working their way back up. We talked about that importance of how Aggro performed in the first half relative to the starting point of the second, and, well, it doesn't seem to have been enough of a springboarding position. The most dangerous position in Siege. Feels like sometimes at 5-2, it's so difficult to recover. It's so close. You win one round and you're only 2 away from recovering it, but Arial are making this one a little bit more of a tougher battle for Aggro to overcome, as their attack was impressive and the close down was there. Arial Arise have had some issues in the past. They make a lot of roster changes kind of during the off season, and so in that period you don't always have that solid foundation. Foundation for that Aviator attack was rock solid, though, I'd say.
Oh, 100%. And again, like I said previously before we went into the break after last map, they're channeling that kind of like last ride energy, right? If this is going to be the way that Arial Arise goes down, they're making a statement right here. And if they can, pull this off, even this up, and God forbid even win Villa, I think that would be nothing short of spectacular for them. And I think, well, there'd be an egg on a lot of faces, mine included, about how I thought this was going to go. That being said, Asian set up here in a very similar position to last time. There wasn't a whole lot of contest in Master Bedroom previously. Asian already droned out there, will have no choice but to give it up again, and they're falling right back, and I think that's pretty much everybody. So once more, Master Bedroom, Astronomy, all of that will be hard in the hands of the attackers at the start of the round.
Aggro are kind of going to play this a little bit more close to the vest rather than have Asian lurk around and think about the attempt for a roam or a flank. Just going to kind of rotate back, play for the site, know that you've wasted a little bit of time and you've kind of fallen back so far. The drone economy from Arial has seen a couple of hits, lost one for Woods and Spiker apiece, so it does move just a little bit less when it comes down to consideration of the objective, though there's no Mute or Mozzie to really try and add on to that. Thinking about vertical play below, it doesn't look like Aggro have anybody in position maybe to toss that Nitro up. That could be the difference makers. We'll have the first notable use of the Gone 6. The shield is removed and nothing standing in its way to stop it. That'll make 90 a little bit more difficult, favorable to the attackers as Arial Arise becomes set in for their attack.
You could say that the shield is now gone. Anyway, couldn't resist. I'm so sorry. I'm new here. Don't be too angry at me. Anyway, Davi here on the setup. Just doing a little bit of droning right there. And they're taking their sweet time about this one, but that's okay. You can be very patient about putting Shing into this site. Spiker, I think, is just going to try and get a Sam Cam up there, give them a bit of an idea of what they can do. Woods there droning it out, and they just keep kind of pushing the defenders back into some very difficult positions. You see on the screen a couple of glimpses of just how tight those defenders are having to play right here. 35 seconds now on the clock, and you are running out of pressure, but you've got 3 stacked up in bar games, and that is actually not ideal. Eddie there just going to window check a couple of times. 30 seconds left on the clock now. Asian is down below. You'll see Dami will fire in to eat that, and here comes the push. Everybody in through the front door. They come swinging in. Spiker goes for the plant, dies immediately. Asian was there. The smoke was there. Silent kicks. Everyone getting in on the action, and oh, it's very World War I-esque. They surged in through one angle, and they just got eaten alive. Adapt the last one here, swings through, and that's just going to be the plant going down. Oni just going to watch it, and, well, there wasn't a lot of choices there for Adapt, was there, Sticula? And that will be a solid win for the defenders.
Playing well around that objective. Took too long for Arial. The way that they had gotten that set up, lackluster in my eyes compared to the first. That pressure was not there. It was kind of, you saw a few elements of that in round number 7 where the plant was kind of forced and the attempt was made. But the one thing that seemed like Arial kind of forgot about was Asian playing below on the vertical. He was able to deny the plant, shut it down completely. Not to mention, you're being pestered from below. There's always the worry of the nitro, but you're also, 1, choking, and 2, blind because you got a toxic canister right up in your business. Not making that one any easier. Aggro on the doorstep of match point. We'll see what trophy and statue has got in store. No notable changes across both sides so far. It's been a very kind of one-dimensional Villa. We'll see one lineup played, kind of all-purpose, all-duty across many of the objectives.
Yeah, it's, you know, one of the complaints some people have about this map, and perhaps justifiably so, is that it does tend to fall into these sort of one-dimensional patterns, for lack of a better word. It's not to say that it's kind of a strategically like a strategic stick in the mud of a map, but it does kind of feel that way sometimes, if I'm being honest. Kicks here going to throw up this mirror window looking into trophy, so they're going to be wanting to invest a little bit of resources at least into astronomy, so that just is not a clear advantage to any attackers that might take control right there. Maybe indicating that they won't be investing as much in an actual body in trophy there either. You see the defenses up on the wall there too, pretty standard stuff. Silent rotating around just a little bit, and Kicks is going to kind of set up this rat holes basically for them to escape. Kicks maybe is going to be the one who will be doing sort of the initial defending on this study side, where a lot of fights on trophy statuary do end up here. We'll see to a certain extent whether the bait is taken, though, or whether the crew from Arial Arise is just going to pass it right by and go in through master bedroom.
Enforcement to drop on down. You got Dami getting to move in. Another showing of this master bedroom take. Got 2 nitros, but nobody really below, and not any intel, notably from Aggro, to try and act on that. You do have 1 bulletproof, the position of which I would imagine it could be like inside trophy, I wonder, to watch for the concrete door. That would be the one position that might stick out. Or maybe in the inside Astro to watch the bathroom door. Sheesh. Spiker just gets swung on, kind of bringing me back to Coastline when he was playing on the Echo inside the inside hook. He just swings around the corner and shuts one down for Aggro. This time, it's the opposite case, as you've lost 0, and Spiker is having a very slow game. For him to have been the MVP in the past match, but now be sometimes absent on the scoreboard, does leave me a little bit puzzled.
He doesn't have a window. He literally doesn't have a window to play off of it. It sounds very silly to say, but that was such a key part of how well he was able to do, was just holding off that window and getting picks, that he doesn't have a position like that to play for. He's playing just kind of face forward and walking into things. That's a beautiful angle from Silent. My God. Some shots coming in there. Didn't get anything with it, but he did get some damage. Kicks holding up here in statuary as well. They do have a breach into statuary should they choose to use it, but Kicks is waiting to greet anybody who comes in. The drone comes out, but it's Silent who gets another pick here. He'll set up once more, fully covering that breach right there. Og trades it out. Og gets another. Og now pushing in. Og on 3. Great little bit of play from the Ash.
Yeah, Og just cannot be stopped. He's going crazy. A 2.0 KD, and now with the plant going down, it's all left up to Oni and Dami for the final 2 there. Arial Arise coming alive in the statue attack, as they're going to make sure it's denied. And nothing is able to stamp forward, as we've got another game on our hands. Back, an equal fight. No team able to push on forward as of yet. Arial looking like this is the next step towards sending us into an even deeper game. And as we go to the replay, Og really started to heat up at that red landing position.
He really did. That was beautiful. He just kind of walked in there, was like, all right, not a lot of contest for me, so I will go ahead and just take as much advantage as I can of that beautiful situation. And like you said, couldn't be stopped. It was very well done indeed. And they will return to trophy statuary. Kicks coming out now on the pulse here. They're going to keep the Rooney, keep the smoke, all very wise and sensible things to do. You know, to me, it felt kind of like it was the defenders' round to lose to a certain extent, and lose that they did. The pinch just really caught them looking. I think they were so focused on that master bedroom wall breach that they just didn't anticipate that somebody could very easily kind of come up behind them and make them hurt, and that's exactly what happened. We'll see now if they play this any differently without that Mira in the rotation. The window on astronomy, I don't think they got a ton of value out of it. They didn't really have anything to do over on study either, so a sort of similar setup, but just without that kind of little bit of a sight line into the trophy room, the shield, and otherwise in the same place.
Just kind of thinking about what Arial Arise could do to kind of replicate that same success of the first look at trophy and statue here in the second half. It's been a very kind of rotation-based game. We've had the primary bomb site, then the secondary, and you know, if you lose it, give it another go, another look at things. A little bit more focus on the vertical play, however. Aggro can have the post lurk below. He's identified first steps of Arial inside the building as Spiker leaps his way through Memorial. The intel is there for kicks, but I don't know if there's totally someone from Aggro at the ready to try and take any action off the back of that.
No, I don't think there is anyone in position, but still, intel is intel, right? And that's very good intel to have. They're just basically stalking him, and I think Asian actually is coming around specifically to look for that. Asian will fall back up the stairs as Eddie takes over instead, going to be the patient hunter down here, but his target might have slipped out of his noose. Asian, though, will get an early kill right there, open things up, and poor Spiker dies again. The man who got all the opening kills, now the victim of almost all the opening kills on the other end, so dreams into nightmares there for him, Sticula, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, he is having a turn of a game and being shut down. A little bit of frustration starting to build up. I would imagine at this point to be 2-9 across. It has spent 10 rounds. This team maybe stepping up a little bit more than they should have to. And this post play is working wonders. Spiker fell in the attempt to go below, which is so common, but he is allowed for kicks to move back in. Unlucky Nitro. Gotta make sure you're aware of that. And as he detonates it, Og will just flatten kicks in response. Not only do you lose a crucial piece of utility, but your life is also gone, as well as Arial Arise comes swinging right back into this match. With now Silent and Kicks to fall. Oni playing aggressive, but he's shot right through the window by Adapt as Aggro. Such a strong start, but now falling to pieces.
It's a good kill from Asian there, trying to fight this one back. Will have that opportunity to push up astronomy stairs. The frags are going to start rolling in. That comes all the way down. Oh, Asian has to fall back, and Eddie continuing to watch that angle as well, but they've lost a lot of bodies here, and thusly are their options quite limited. Asian going on a full long rotate here as Dami comes in. Woods has the breach to enter. The smokes will come out there to just kind of escort him in. Eddie is waiting for the opportunity, sees the body glimpse, can't take it down. Adapt instead finishes him off, and now it's Asian trying to play this vertically to the best of their ability. Woods will go down for the plant. They've got those pings coming in. No, he shoots the bomb, not the man next to it. Oh no, he fires up through the floor again, and this situation is rapidly getting out of Asian's hands.
Yeah, there's no more intel to try and base the denial off of, and Asian will race up the stairs and take away Adapt as he does. So low HP, the 1-on-2 Dream. Keep Aggro in position. I'll have the drop down as he goes below, but it's immediately reacted to. You can see Dami adjusts, watching bottom control, but he looks away at a crucial moment. This gives Asian an opportunity. No. Quad kill has happened, and there's 20 seconds on the cards. Moving forward, Asian close at the case, and Woods is playing distance, though I believe the wall is open at triple. We're gonna try to play for the case. Woods. Oh, he double thinks it. He doesn't exactly know what he wants to do. Moving forward. Oh no, Asian might have had that if he tried to play for the case. But he bails off and he gives away all hope of that ace clutch.
Why did he come off the plant? I think he would have gotten it if he stayed on it. Oh, lordy me. We saw something very similar actually in the pro leagues a couple of days ago where somebody came off a plant in a situation like that. And it's such a difficult call to make. It's such a difficult call to make. I mean, the pressure is immense, right? And Asian had done a spectacular job. Even to be fair, the Sophia gave him a little bit of a free pass, right? With the turn away at just the wrong second. Siege timing perfectly illustrated. But man, if he had just stuck with it, I think he would have gotten it because there was that moment of hesitation from Woods. He couldn't quite figure out which direction he wanted to take it in. Oh, look at those stats though. Kicks and Asian together have really come alive on this map, and you would not know that Eddie has been the top fragger for this team across this entire tournament otherwise because it's Kicks and Asian who are doing the heavy lifting right here. Still 5-5 is the scoreline as we go into round 11, Sticula, and this is about as close as it can get. And if you're Arial Arise, I wonder if you're beginning to taste the sweet taste of victory in the win.
Yeah, and as well taste a shot in the lower bracket final. The run has been impressive so far, and you know, perhaps for some in the staff kind of regretting their vote towards Aggro as it looks like they are not playing in their usual style. And you know, it's funny we talk about that because I was on call with Ferme late last night and we were discussing the predictions as he prepared the production, and you know, I said to him, I don't know, I might think about changing my vote because Arial have been a really good team recently and they've seemed like they're starting to fight back. And Aggro, yes, are a good team, but Arial are coming into form in a way that has not been there recently.
Now, as an old 80s song once said, they've got the touch. So far today, they've really been in touch with that kind of team dynamic. They've been playing very well. I mean, Aggro has been kind of taking that inching lead on Villa so far. But again, as we said before we started, this is a map that has been like literally the best map for Aggro. And the fact that they're being held 5-5 here is a little bit worrisome because I think if they were in an ideal position, this would be a complete runaway. Spiker getting hecka aggressive right there again. And, well, he dies first one more time. Not the way he wanted to be padding that stat, but he will go down. And they'll just kind of set up, I think, for a decent push on Study here, but they really need to establish split pressure.
Man, that's a tough loss. Spiker has died on the entry death 3 rounds in a row. Og is there for the trade. He'll manage to find out Silent, but Kix has got Dami in the wings to take out the Zofia, leaving things up to the 3 top fraggers of this Arial squad this game. See what they can make happen as they're going to try to push towards the objective with 1:35. The time could certainly be better, and the man advantage is not going to make this an easy fight as Eddie starts to get a little bit more active on the 90 play, and the shield not cleared. The Gone 6 already wasted. That's an easy fight for Oni as he'll pop up and Adapt's head is gone, leaving things all up to Woods. And Asian just takes him away. That'll be Aggro. Round number 11 under their belt and match point secured. This could be it. Could be sending us to the next map all the way to Club for the decider.
Yeah, it's fits and starts, though, at the moment. I mean, I love how these two teams are playing, kind of just grabbing each other by the belt and not letting go. That map, I think, just, you know, they've got to stop losing Spiker so early on. He's playing not very, and I don't want to dump on him, right? It's not very nice, but he's playing really uncautiously. Like, he's just kind of yeeting in there, and it's a little ironic considering the op that he's playing, right, is supposed to be, you know, a bit more slow, a bit more methodical. You get your cameras out, right? You use your drones. You're the intel guy for your team. Instead, he's just kind of been going in trying to get these entry frags, and every time he's kind of been getting thrown right back out, just bounced by security. Now a rook pick coming out here on Trophy Statuary, and you know what? I'm all right. Let's see what they do with it. He's a guy who doesn't come around very often. He does give a little bit of an edge in the gunfights, but I don't even even know that Aggro really necessarily needs an edge in the gunfights. I feel like their head-to-heads have been generally pretty okay. They'll have Kicks playing the Mira here, and again, they'll kind of set up this far-reaching defense in study as would be expected. I feel like they've not gotten a lot of truck out of it, though, so far here, Sticula. They've just not really had too much cause to play it. It's mostly been focused on other directions.
I'm still kind of mulling over what Oni playing the Rook means for this. When there was the changes made to the optics, the one thing about Rook that you might see, you know, sometimes on like an Oregon basement, you would see Rook just because he's got that long range capability. He's got the 2.0 times optic, and so he can kind of play that a little bit better. So, I don't know, maybe that's the decision here. There's also the bounty of the impacts, which could be helpful for the hard breaching process, but we talked about Spiker that last round. I have to say, he was trying to make a play, but it was unsupported by his teammates, and that's kind of one of those points where you start to get frustrated, and you're making a play based off of, well, not based off of influence, kind of just like a spur of a moment thing, and Spiker cannot afford to go down early. Given the usefulness of his gadget, he's got to be able to deploy those at least, sort of like a Nomad situation, where Nomad's not going to be your entry fragger, because if she dies with air jabs in pocket, that's such a huge waste.
Yeah, it's a similar situation with a Zero. You hate to see him die before he can even get the cams down and kind of give his team that coverage on the flanks. And there are probably a couple of times over these last rounds where that kind of coverage would have been absolutely valuable. But you see now Eddie's going to challenge the window. He gets the pick. Adapt, I think, was almost as surprised, or was less surprised than Eddie was about that. He just kind of stared into the face of death. Oni now trying to do a little bit of impact tricking here, and I think he will get the trick down. That's at least one Selma destroyed. Or I'm sorry, not a Selma. No, it was a Selma. My apologies. Yeah, trying to get that one in, and it will be destroyed right there, so they will continue to hold that statuary wall. Eddie again tries to take the window, and unfortunately that time he will not win. Spiker gets it. Can't play the same trick twice, it would seem.
Spiker, that notorious window player, has finally found his position. Just waiting there outside Astro. He's home. But one thing that is troubling here is the fact that the impact trick was very successful, and Woods has lost all of his Selmas. What is Asian doing down here, though? He's just kind of waiting below as Og sort of bounces away. For this to be a minute left, Og cannot afford to be at main door. I mean, that's a lengthy run to get way back to help out your attack. You kind of have to rotate now rather than be focused up with Asian, who is himself not really contributing much, being so far away from the site. Oh, but Silent, look at that! He'll get two as the Og just mows right through him. Og has found his way towards the objective, but he's going to have to contest against the pre-fire spray of Silent, who's ripping and tearing through the aerial offense, as he just cannot be put to rest. And Silent is looking for another one. Eddie is premature, but kind of speaks to the position we're in, as Oni will get the final one, and Aggro do win Villa. It's a trading of the map picks here in this lower bracket best of 3 series, as we'll have to go all the way.
We will indeed have to go all that way, and I am surprised at being a match point attack. That felt absolutely kind of just pedestrian coming out of them right there. Kicks will walk away with the MVP, and well deserved. We all saw that beautiful bit of play on Mira earlier on. A true champion right there on that map, and Aggro will take this one. Perhaps not entirely surprising, given that this is a very, as I've said, a very strong map for them, but still, Arial has to be a little bit, you know, frustrated, because that was one I think that was well within their rights to take away, and that last attack was just kind of not great. They sort of just walked into it. It was very slow paced. You were talking about Og being way off position there as well, and it was, I asked the same question, what is your IQ doing that down there, and why is it taking so long for you guys to get in?
Yeah, that one was fairly easy for Aggro to poke a few holes in, completely shut it down. Let's take a look back exactly through the entire duration of the match. This was an important moment where Og came so incredibly close, getting every kill, the triple, but then running out of time before he could get the case down. He had to be frustrated in such a round that would have been huge. Og has had some past performances, past clutches, especially on Villa in the Biblioteca match. I distinctly remember him on a heater with Valkyrie in that MPX, able to completely shut down his opposition. This game, really had some clutch moments, not the overtime maybe that we had predicted earlier on, but it is a win for Aggro, one that they fought hard for, and one that's going to push us all the way to Clubhouse as that third decider map in series. Spiker had a big, had kind of a trouble on the map. It felt like he wasn't as comfortable. Not many windows that you can actively play on the second floor where the primary action really is.
He wanted a window. He just needed it. He got on a window right there on astronomy, and he got himself a pick. So it was, like I said, he's home. But it was probably a little bit of a disappointment for Arial Arise. But that being said, we're going to go to Clubhouse now. This is a map that Arial Arise has played a lot of. They played here 4 times so far. That being said, though, it isn't the best map for them. It's basically a 50-50 split in terms of their ability to pull this one off. They are very good on certain points. I think their attack win percentage on CCTV cache is 70-something%. So I mean, a site that they clearly know how to dismantle well. But I don't know, if my back was into the wall in their position, Sticula, I don't know that this is the map I would want to go to, but it is the choice that was made, and it is where they will end up.
Yeah, unfortunately, at this point, you kind of have to go to the map that are left and make that decision. If it's Clubhouse, the regular season performance was back and forth a little bit. Arial put a tough attempt up against Gatekeepers in the opening season match, which is a good thing to say, given the fact that Arial Arise, they're a strong team. Well, Gatekeepers are the ones that everybody is predicting, and there's a reason why they're playing later in the winners bracket. Let's look at the statistics here from Villa, get a better picture of exactly what had gone down across the map. It's Asian, who is our MVP, 1.59. Kicks is up there, just the very same rating.
Yeah, and very solid performance from those two. I think I mentioned it as the game was going on, but they definitely felt like they were the ones who were kind of picking the team up and sort of dragging them through. We nearly saw Asian and Kicks, I think both actually got very close to some big clutches right there, and just great performance from them all around, and that 75% represents that as well, the KOST. But on the other side, I think the stat to look at right there is Spiker with that -4 difference, literally almost what was he was +6 last round on that exact same stat. It's feast or famine in the most brutal way. Og obviously doing a good job there, but you look at those bottom two, specifically Spiker, and you do get a little bit worried. He's going to have to kind of take this moment that we have this break and kind of reset himself, and maybe genuinely Clubhouse will be a bit of a better map for him. I agree with you when I say that he felt like he looked a little bit lost and confused on some of those attacks.
Yeah, things were difficult for Spiker on Villa, hoping that Club can be something a little bit better. Everybody knows how to play Club, one of those staple maps inside of Siege. The decider between Aggro and Arial Arise is just ahead of us here in this lower bracket showdown. But before we get there, we're going to be heading to a short break. We'll get everything ready, and we'll be right back. Hello everyone and welcome back to the cutting room floor as we get underway with the deciding map here in what has been a closely fought series, Aggro versus Arial Arise, each team trading away their map picks. A beginning on Coastline that looked like Arial Arise hot out of the gate, but a struggle for Aggro on that map quickly turned around as we got onto Villa. It was Aggro in control for a large part of the way. How will things develop on the very well thought through map of Clubhouse? That's the question we seek to answer. My name is Sticula. Joining me here is our newest addition to the casting lineup at SCS, Cormac. What are you thinking ahead of this one?
I love how you call it well thought out. Played to death, maybe, as well. It's another word we can use, but strategized ad nauseum, let's say. It's a map that everybody understands, but I've loved the game that these two have delivered up. It's been a bit weird at times. It's been a bit wacky, maybe not entirely unexpected considering we started off on Coastline, but they have been playing well, and you can tell that both these teams are hungry for it, which I think is one of my favorite aspects of this entire matchup. Aggro had a bit of a soft map. They reset. They came back hard on Villa. Arial Arise has been nipping at their heels that entire time too, just didn't want to give up the ghost here. And we go over to Clubhouse, which, as I mentioned before we went into the break, is a map that is really not great for Arial Arise, but it's also not a runaway map for Aggro either. It's actually kind of middle ground for both of them. I think both their win percentages are kind of hovering around the 50s, so it's very much something that's in play. And to be honest, an overtime decider and an exciting losers bracket matchup coming down to Clubhouse, it almost feels as iconic as kind of a showdown in a Western movie at high noon. Like, it's meant to be, right? Like, we're here, and this is the map that it's gonna be on. And I'm really looking forward to see how this works out, because I literally don't think I could pick between the two of them at this stage.
No, it's going to be down to individual performance on the server, which team comes prepared and which team wants it more. The stakes in the lower bracket are higher than ever, given that the loser in this match, well, there is no third elimination. You are completely out of the running if you can't get it done here on Clubhouse. We're jumping over towards the map now. So we'll get underway, figure out which operators are going to be vetoed and which stick around. Clubhouse, a lot of Thatcher, a lot of Maverick. Usually it's fairly easy to call. The one thing about that, though, is we have had Nomad removed on both of these first two maps. With the heart-breaching focus, will she be allowed to stick around?
Oh, it's a good question indeed. She has not been popular today, that is for sure. And they took a while to think about that one, but it will be Maverick who will get taken out. And that is a very standard, very reliable ban. Makes opening up the CCTV room in particular that much harder. Also could be applied to the jacuzzi breach as well. So no more Maverick. He's off the board, and we'll see what the second ban coming out from Aggro will be. They're probably unlikely to ban the Nomad. They will take Habana out. So another projectile hard breacher, and kind of an interesting choice, because you would almost expect if you're going to ban a Habana, maybe you would ban an Ace instead, but no, not in this case.
Yeah, I like the Habana ban. I mean, it makes a lot of sense when hatches are thought about, especially that kitchen, which is one of the most important areas of Clubhouse. The thing about this, though, is it leaves Thatcher up in play, and I'm glad to have that happen. And Clubhouse without Thatcher is like bread without butter. I mean, it's not as good as it could be, and it's, it goes down a little bit tougher here. So now that you've got Thatcher in play, won't be so much trouble in clearing some of that utility, though. To keep in mind, Cade is up and alive, so we'll have the Electro Claws still lingering around if Aggro aren't immediately prepared to introduce that Thatcher over operators that they played more towards that intel focus, with the Zero and Iana being prominent figures so far this best of three.
Yeah, it's he's on a jailbreak. Is Thatcher? He's got his chance to make a difference, to make an impact. I don't know, what was his overall ban rate? Ranked play was like 80% or something. And Silent will be the one who will bring the Thatcher out, completely as to be expected. Meanwhile, on the other side, no focus on hard breach now, because they are going to start here on our Church Arsenal will be the one to go. Og coming out on the Legion there is a bit of an interesting choice. A good operator, but I feel like, maybe a little bit underplayed these days in certain situations. I'll be interested to see how they use those goo mines. They are very good for intel on this site. If I remember correctly from the stats that I was looking at, though, this is actually statistically the worst site for Arial Arise on this map. So they are starting hardest first, and I can't help but feel like maybe that's a little bit intentional. Sticula, kind of get the nasty one out of the way, and then maybe move to sites that you feel a little bit more comfortable with for those later rounds.
Well, it seems as though we've got a little bit of an extended roam in play, and Adapt is bringing some Echo drones to try and support that. Mute,
10 seconds left.
reinforce off that jacuzzi platform wall. Make sure the attackers are going to have to spend as much time as possible in clearing this. One thing to keep in mind is what impacts are around, given that the hatch is going to be important in clearing. You have only one remaining in pocket for Adapt, so I imagine the focus of that hatch largely going to be on denying the attackers the ability to really orient themselves around it. Just getting the kitchen hatch open is not the end of the world. However, Aggro in this first attack seem as though they might be choosing to ignore that offsite presence and focus on a more direct push.
Yeah, I thought we maybe were going to see a tunnel rush there for a second, the way that Kicks kind of swung the corner and blasted some holes into the walls there, but no, they're gonna go for maybe something coming in on kitchen. Spiker is here playing on the stairs. He could push up in if he wanted to. It's actually silent, dueling on the high ground. Oni falls back just a little bit, and the health pool is going very low here. Kicks took a mighty beating, and they still, I don't know if they managed to get that kitchen hatch open yet. I didn't quite get a view, but Dami now pushing down the stairs, and they're all gonna try and just close in on this area and shut it down. Oni's going to go ahead and scout out tunnels, so maybe we're going to see a shift in priorities here in a second.
Shooting out one selection of that window on the main stairs could be a double-edged sword if we see Dami get eager to try and peek through it. Og will find the first as Eddie is shut down. Pressure from the main stairs, but Oni, he's getting the case put on the ground. And there's Silent right immediately at coverage, but Adapt will swing. The plant is successful, but Oni, as he tries to run away, is felled. 2K there for the Echo player. Kicks is waiting up above to try to protect this, but he has to be mindful of the flank. Og begins to push his way up this main staircase, and Asian's down, but Dami taken away in the meanwhile. Gonna have to be a battle one. Deletion will swing the corner. There's Kicks. Osada even toss out a flashbang, denying this option. But in the meanwhile, Adapt begins to attempt the plant. There's the swing. Should be an easy close up and the confirm at the ready. Arial Arise hits that tough site out of the way first with an immediate 1-0 defensive start.
I think the lesson to be learned here is that you just can't ignore the roamers. Like, you just can't do it. And the temptation is there. Sometimes those swift pushes, especially onto this particular site, do work. And I admire the courage, right? And the grit. We're just going to go in. We're going to get the plant down. We're going to cover it from kitchen, yada, yada, yada. But they just left too much on the board. They never really had full control. And it was always going to put a lot of pressure on whoever survived that initial kind of push in and plant to really hold on to that thing, and they just did not have the resources available. Poor Kicks on the buck doing his level best to try and finish hard and hold that vertical control, and it just wasn't to be. Too much pressure applied from too many different angles at the end of the day.
CCTV and Cash next in line. No shocker to us. The usual rotation. We'll have a lot of hard breach here, and the buck is brought as well. One thing about this site, I think stock vertical play is really underappreciated, and that could be very helpful for Kicks playing with the buck skeleton key. If he goes below, you really can't play inside of construction, or really inside Cash, if I meant. You're going to have to play from inside of top red, or kind of try to play somewhere else here inside CCTV. Means a lot of leverage if you can clear out green box. Things are generally easier. The common strategy for this site is split take reel, try to get the wall open immediately. That's not going to be terribly difficult given that you got Thermite and you've got Thatcher, and then after that wall becomes open, stick somebody there to guard the cross and then rotate for construction pressure.
I'll be interested to see here, actually, Stickula, who's going to be the one who gets stuck with Raptors defense. They haven't really seemed to have marked anyone for that particular role. Often we'll see someone hiding up there, you know, protected by some ADSs waiting it out. But Og is actually playing sort of on the low ground, and you can see they're getting prepared to trick this. And this will be a rare opportunity to see the bandit trick in action, because it just not that common these days with the way that Thatcher gets burned out. And you'll see Dami's just waiting. He's got his battery ready to go, and they're more than happy, I think, to just wait this one out and do a little bit of droning here. They're trying to check underneath. In particular, you see Eddie pushing up there through stock. There comes the first Thermite in, and Tommy! Oh, he gets baited, destroyed, annihilated. He might die here as well if he's not careful. He tries to crawl back to his teammates, but it just won't happen. And with only a minute off the board, they throw the CCTV wall wide open.
So calculated there by Aggro. They knew Dami was going to try it, and so they kind of just let him know about it. Saw breaching rounds and lifeline sent in from below for Eddie. Just dispatching with Tommy right on target and right on time. That's now open, and you've got the garage panel opened up as well. So far, we won't have any hard breach used for construction. It seems more of that CCTV-focused execute. Look at this. Kicks as well playing for the construction bullet hole. Og is on the fringe, thinking about what he could make happen. Did have that opening made in the garage wall, so that could give Og some idea of an attacker out there. But as he peeks the billiards window, there's nobody exposed to it, and so now we focus. There'll be pressure coming in towards Rafter side, and whoa! Kicks is just in the middle of CCTV, but he doesn't get anything off the back of that aggression. And Arial Arise have managed to secure this one back into a 3-on-3. Tough shot for Silent. He's having so much trouble, but finally manages to net adapt. A difficult kill and a real ugly one for it, but a minute left, and it's Arial Arise who are going to have to fend off a hungry Team Aggro.
Woods here playing on that kind of soft roamer on the top of the stairs. He fires a couple of shots. Silent on the other side kind of exchanging as well. They're waiting kind of for the setup. They could get in here. Oh, Og does a great job. Just holds steady, holds firm, holds his nerve, and gets that pick. Now we see Asian pushing in on the other side, just going to open the window, takes a chunk of health off Oni for the trouble, but they will allow them to get the thermite in. The smoke comes out right away. 28 seconds left on the clock. He swings a couple of shots down there towards the top of stairs. He won't find anything. Og holding up, beautiful angle, fires into garage. Poor Oni, who's just the sharp end of the spear, can't get the plant down, and you will be dropped instead. The wrong thing going down right there, and now all pressure here on Asian, who pushes up and in. Great kill there on Woods. Can they find another? 5 seconds left on the clock, and oh, nope. Showed him the heels. Og doubles back and gets the kill. The insult to injury and a couple of tactical crouches as well, just to let him know.
Close one there in the final seconds as the round simply came down to too little time. Aggro mismanaging that one and throwing away what was a strong starting advantage. Take a look at this. Just a complete smoke show for the Bandit waiting on the main breach. And Kicks missing that shot was so important as he charged in. It caused a lot more time burn. It forced the Thatcher in a disadvantaged position, which eventually did cost him his life to have struggled for so long on the rafters. Arial with a 2-0 start. Building up a little bit of momentum here on Club. We'll see what that tertiary site looks like. We had the tease of the Goyle for a moment, which kind of unusually has been an operator that we haven't seen terribly too much this series. Goyo has been a really strong op in the recent meta, having 2 deployable shields, a strong gun, and the ability to deny plant with that nitro. He just wasn't present on any of the maps that we've had.
Yeah, I mean, they're literally reworking him. Like, it's something that's in the work. They think those shields are a little too strong, and I think they're taking him away from him and just giving him pure fire traps. But you're right. It's weird, Stick, that we haven't seen more of him tonight. He definitely can be good on this point. He can play some shields to kind of shore up defense on construction. He can help you out a little bit in CCTV as well. But no, they'll kind of stick with what they had last time. That being said, they will not bring the blitz here. They're gonna take that away. The mirror choice is a good one as well. You see Woods just setting up there for the defense, and again, it's gonna be kind of a long fight out of CCTV and cash, which is usually what we tend to see on this gym bedroom point. Adapt throwing down the mute jammer there, just add a little bit of extra life to this Mira as well. And I do like this defensive setup. If it's played right, it wastes so much time for the attackers to have to burn their way through everything that you throw at them over in CCTV cash room. But if you kind of mess it up and sacrifice 1 or 2 lives early on, it can quickly spiral into absolute disaster.
About making that first step right on this attack if you're going to deny the extension. Intel is there. We're going to be recognizing the fact that Dami is waiting inside. Keep an eye on Kicks, though. He's going in below for stock. They're going to try to pressure this guy out of here. The EMPs will send on through. Kicks is there at the ready. Skeleton key up to defend for green box. Spots the Wamai. Beautiful job to shut him down, but in the meanwhile, Asian is picked away by Spiker as the Buck is pestered. Og from inside bar, and the Jaeger still keen to try and retake this. Kicks is shut down. Such a great start to eliminate Dami, but lacking intel, it seems, on both the Frost and the Jaeger has cost Aggro big time, and what otherwise would have been a very advantaged start.
Very much indeed. Silent there kind of poking out now into construction. They have managed to take over CCTV and cash, but they've got another nasty defensive setup awaiting them. That was a very good Selma thrown there just below that mirror window, effectively rendering it useless. Don't tell Woods, though. He'll just spin the corner and take Oni out, and that is not great. Kicks Oni and Asian all off the board. Some big guns taken out there. Silent just walks right into the gun of a tap. What are you doing, son? Oh, you're not gonna win things that way. And Eddie here just gonna wait. Steady, Eddie. What are you gonna do in this situation? You're kind of stuck, Steve, to be honest.
Now, this round has really gone from bad to worse. I don't know what the play was there, but jumping through and ignoring the Mira didn't get much done inside of logistics. Only Eddie left, and I think it's fair to say we already know the conclusion of this round. It'll be an Arial Arise win as Aggro, final member. Eddie continues to wait, maybe pat the stats. He has had a bit of a rough game so far. Woods is going to go for the peak. Slowly working his way there inside CCTV. He might be able to catch Sophia off guard, but Woods is not eager to immediately swing. He will miss Eddie, though. 30 seconds left as you still got players kind of peeking for shots and waiting to see what'll happen. Eddie's health is so considerably low. He'll think about recovering the case, slowly working his way through here. I imagine Arial could swing around with shotgun, and there it is. Adapt is going to lay him low. Arial, another strong defensive performance, a flawless cycle. Seems like Aggro kind of having some growing pains at the start of Clubhouse.
Yeah, growing pains is one word for it indeed. I genuinely do not understand what the whole thing was about just jumping straight into Logi like that, and I guess hoping for the best. But, you know, Clubhouse, we talked about how it's been strategically sort of done to death, but you're not really seeing... Aggro is setting up well, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I feel like they are getting some really good setups. That one round on CCTV Cash was brilliantly set up, but then always kind of there comes this moment, this sort of shatter point where they're like, okay, we're going to attack now, and then somebody dies, and then everything just kind of unravels. It's like the key thread is pulled out, and the entire piece of cloth just falls into strands, and I don't necessarily know what exactly is causing that. I might just not be siege literate enough to tell you, but there just seems to be this one moment in every round where something breaks and then everybody just kind of panics and breaks with it. And, you know, Aggro is a really strong team. They can win this. We saw them do it on Villa. They came out swinging. I thought they were going to kind of come out swinging here, but they're just kind of, I think, their own worst enemy at this point in time as we get ready to look at a hold down in Church Arsenal again. And I think we're getting signs at least of once more a sort of wide-ranging roam coming out from Arial Arise.
I almost would think to say maybe Aggro should take it kind of back to basics here. Play something that is, you know, sort of tailor-made. Don't try to do anything too crazy. You know that Arial are going to play more of this roam setup, so try and shut it down. Try to get your drone work. That has seemed to be Aggro's biggest strength this game. That kind of consistency in the intel to know what positions are covered, where Arial defenders are lurking, and being able to clamp down on that before Arial gets to play kind of that guerrilla warfare aggressive style of siege that will certainly rear its head if you fail to properly drone things out. We've got a jacuzzi balcony play. It's almost like we're attacking for the top floor site, but Silent is going to waste an EMP in the progress. So he had tried to throw it from all the way out by the camper van. Such a useless waste of utility.
Yeah, again, I don't want to be too harsh, but like, what are we doing? You know, you're breaching into master bedroom, which is fine. I guess you consider this necessary to clean out some of the roamers that caused you so many problems last time on this site. But that was 2 Thatcher grenades that were used right there to get that wall open, and it feels brutally unnecessary to have done that. You don't even really have any of the roamers removed, and you've lost kicks. Eddie now pushing into the garage here, is going to go for the default cam, but definitely has their work cut out for them. 1 minute 40 seconds left on the clock, and I can safely say, I think here, Sticula, the roamers are doing their job and doing it in fine fashion by just purely wasting time and utility.
And talk about, you know, the way that you measure the success of the roam. Arial Rise is yet to be cleared, and there's only three attacker drones remaining. That is a lot to have wasted before making the progress towards the objective. The Mute and the Mozzie strat has worked excellently, and Aggro don't have any remedy for it. They've got a member isolated. It's Og waiting inside. Asian immediately at the cutoff. If they can get this player holding aggressive inside blue, this could be a big pick. The lifeline will sound off. The concussion is there, and now Woods effectively trapped. Dami has got to hustle up if he wants to provide security. Woods is going to play for the swing. Doesn't even get a shot to pull the trigger as it's Eddie who will gun him down. Aggro have managed to recover. It's a difficult position. The intel, in the meanwhile, has gotten even lower. They're going to have to effectively brute force their way in, go aggressive, and play for that gunny style of siege. Rooney, though, it's not making this really any easier. Aggro, it's a late reaction. Asian, you can see the impact of the drone there. Not a clue where Dami is.
Not a clue at all. Silent just going to walk down into the basement corridor here. 3v3 situation. Oni exchanging unpleasantries down there into the basement, but not able to bring anything down. Dami now drops to the floor. Maybe starts wending their way back towards Silent. Silent takes a ton of damage. 2 quick kills. Oni and Silent both dropped immediately. And Asian, the last one in, and that was... well, that was a bit of a hash of a round right there. They kind of... did not like the way that one went, Sticula, if I'm being honest.
Aggro seem to have kind of forgotten how to play on Clubhouse. I mean, this is just a masterclass of defense by Arial. Kind of had a lot of momentum coming off the back of that CCTV win that should not have been, and have not really slowed down since. Looking like a much better team than we had so far earlier on Villa. And Aggro are, I hate to say it, lost. You have to call the timeout here. This needs to be a timeout because things are going so wrong. You need to figure out something. Something has got to give because Aggro are playing right into how Arial want to defend this.
Yeah, they really are. And, you know, you're right. I think it's a timeout situation. It's circle the wagons. It's go back to basics, operators that you're comfortable with, and try and play this in a more just kind of calm, collected style, the style that we kind of saw them bring out on Villa with the drones, the intel, the very wise plays, and it's just not been here. But you know what? We've actually talked a lot about how Aggro is not stepping up to the challenge. Can we take a moment and say that Arial will rise? Whoa! Like, great job. You would not think that this was a team that, you know, at the start of this match, we were talking about how things have kind of been a bit rough in their back room. They're looking to break up. They've already maybe lost the form of Dami. They have stepped up to this occasion, and they are scaling Mount Everest right now, and they are scaling it in fine style. A 4-0 start here on Clubhouse. They're playing really well. They feel like a team that wants it. They really, really want it, and I have to respect that considering the situation that they had going into this match.
And Adapt, he tries to spawn peek. The fact that the confidence here for Arial Arise is really unmatched.
Off the chain.
It is, and let's look towards this. How does this develop now? Aggro had the, I guess what you would call like the lifeline trick they did last round where they just sent him in below to try and deal with that. I would imagine that would be done again. We saw Spikers sort of stationed below to try and be a problem, but Asian worked that one out. Aggro, this looks like a round that is something a little bit different, though Adapt is lurking on that below presence. I'm going to barricade off the Zulu door that makes sure that the lifelines are not enough to stop him. Adami is kind of asleep at the wheel here. He chooses to stick the bandit battery, which does nothing, places it on the wrong side. However, Silent is just not ready for it, and Adapt goes aggressive in just the perfect moment to totally get the full advantage out of this. I mean, Aggro, I don't know what to say.
Tommy at full sprint running across CCTV to get behind the shield was pretty funny, though. It's just like, oh god, I messed up quickly. Must find cover. And it worked. He's still alive, and they actually got a kill because Adapt struck back. Dami now positioned up behind the shield upon which he has planted a battery. I appreciate that as well. Swings. Oh, that's a really aggressive swing there. Trying to pick up a kill out on CCTV balcony, but he will not find it. Meanwhile, Adapt just in the rafters, happy to hold here. Still has the ADAs to cover, but Asian
elimination. Gets that long bomb shot. Great sightline, great play there from the Ash to get the kill down. Eddie here in garage as well, really watching that corner. I don't actually think they have anyone trapped over there, but for lack of a better word, he must think that they did. The wagons being kind of drawn back, everybody coming back to the well here. Woods, Og, they're all playing a little bit tighter on the site. Og up on top of the table right there to get that different sight line down. They've got lots of pressure coming in here right now. The shots come down and they will, I think, knock Eddie. Dami gets one as well, so 2 big kills coming in right there. Woods continues to hold and just gonna wait it out. Eddie fully eliminated off the board, and Og stationed up behind the table once more in a 2v3 situation. The smoke coming out on the left-hand side right there for just a second as the plant will go in. Asian just gonna try and get this one down. The smoke thrown out by Woods, but it's in the wrong place. He gets one over the top. No, that's a C4. Dami gets the big pick. Og trades back out almost immediately. And it'll just be Silent here, forced to back up down the stairs. Silent gets both! Wow!
Silent! How do you let that happen? He was looking at the wrong angle, jumps up, one, gets the second, and shuts it all down. That's a sorely needed round, went off the back. It looked like Aggro had no clue how to close out their advantage. Finally end the streak of domination by Arial. 1-4. You've got to get this next round. Clubhouse is difficult to attack, but not when you got Thatcher up. Not when you have Thatcher up. Usually it's the Cade that causes problems in the stall of the Maverick trick. This could not be easier for Aggro in the operator vetoes that we have here.
No, it couldn't. And I mean, Thatcher having an impact on that last round, but perhaps not in the way we expected. It's beautiful kills there, but you're right. It should be as difficult to attack this site with what you have available. You literally have Thatcher. There's a reason he's banned 80% of the time. It's because he's really good. He's really good specifically on this map, but they just have not been able to make it work for them. I mean, that was their first round that they picked up, and even then it was a squeaker. It was a fluke. It was brilliant individual play by one player and a little bit of a misplay by 2 players on Arial Arise. That's all it was, or that would have been very much a round that had just ended. And they need to kind of just settle it down. I don't necessarily know what is going wrong, if it's a comms thing, if they're just not feeling very comfortable on the map. You would think that this is a map they would feel eminently comfortable on, but they look like a team that's just a little bit adrift right here. And we'll see this defense being set up again. It was very similar to what they played last time, right? The fight through sort of CTV and cash, then you get to construction. You have a whole nother layer of defense you have to take down, and it's just layers upon layers, like an onion or an ogre. And you just have to deal with each one in turn.
Coming into a big round for Team Aggro. Winning this here would mean a game that is easier to work with. You cannot allow Arial to be out of the gate on the end of the first half 5-1. Aggro are a capable team, but, I mean, to that degree, I don't know if I can say they would be able to recover it then. Anything is really possible on a map like Clubhouse. It's up to the team, the perseverance, that the sportsmanship attitude has got to be there. Lifeline sent in, a little bit of an opening made, but the reinforcement still could come. Actually, none left in pocket. They're going to intentionally play with this open and not have the opportunity to lock it away. Adapt is really in a rough position. He'll be down as it's the transition. Silent prone behind the toilet. Here inside the bathroom, he cleans up on Spiker as he is on a killing spree so far, collecting a third onto Woods now as finally there is some response, looking like Aggro have completely... Oh! Silent walks into the bear trap. He'll get completely snapped up. For all the hype I delivered, the 3K start, and then he walks right into the trap in the middle of the master bedroom, needing some help from his teammates here. This could be a problem. Oh, don't tell me. No, don't tell me. Oh, and he's gone down. It's a 2-on-2. The advantage was so humongous in favor of Team Aggro. There could be the res. Kix is thinking about it. They know that Frost was playing near the main stairs. She's transitioned, but Kix looks down. Eddie's the only one left. He's got to have to fight this. Dami's waiting. He'll get the confirm, but that's going to reveal the position. Eddie's looking for the gunfight. He'll travel in. There's the sound call. Swings the corner. He's ready for it. Waiting in the close position. He's there, and he's got the gun trained, and he'll fell Dami. Diffuser out on the balcony still. Is August going to play passive? Seems like there is some intel, though. They seem to be aware that the Frost is away. Eddie's kind of baiting for it, thinking that maybe Og will rotate as he believes that it's still the Zofia thinking for the rotate. But August playing this incredibly passive, and as every moment passes, the time gets lower and lower. Og can continue to play this. He knows that he really doesn't have to do much. And Eddie's going to try to play for the frag. Arial Arise. Around they certainly should not have won.
No, around they certainly shouldn't have. You saw Silent there channeling the power of Castle Grayskull or whatever, just coming alive, getting all those. That he stepped in a Frost mat. Frost! Who would have known? Frost was the big decision maker. Jim Bedroom is a map that's really good for that particular operator, but probably not that good. The noise that, you see it in the chat right there. Adapt said they were making a ton of noise, and they're right. I don't really understand how they were quite making as much noise as they were, but kind of gave the game away. And Og played that really well, just patient, didn't feel the need to get aggressive there. And I think a lot of players who are more nervous, or a lot of lesser players, would have jumped into that gunfight, would have been the attacker in that situation. Too much of their mind focused on the need to retake the site, but instead he just waited calmly, patiently, and got the kill when he knew he could secure it. And I really have to respect the play from Og. That entire map did a good job too of playing the mind games with kicks, catching him when he came in through the window to destroy the trap. If there's anybody who deserves plaudits for that round, and the reason why Arial pulled off the kind of unwinnable win, it is Og on that Frost.
Such a spectacular, there's a couple words that we could describe that, but Aggro has such a huge start. Silent, the triple kill, gets rid of all the bathroom presence, and then the Frost mat, one thing after another, jumping in the window when you could have gone in from the wall. Nothing really done right in that round after the minute and 30 mark. I have to feel bad for Aggro at this point, because that was a round that they really should have won, and that he desperately needed. And it started out so well, but then just crumbled. That's a tilter to lose that round, and so now you have to confront Arial Arise. You can't let him go to match point at this point, because you gotta fight back here. Aggro need a lot of rounds, and they've got to string a few together. The defenses have been here or there. And at this point, you just need to play how you're comfortable, and everybody needs to be firing on all cylinders. Oni had a great first map on Coastline, but since Villa has been pretty quiet, maybe that was a role swap in between to allow Eddie to play a little bit better and kind of have Kicks and Asian be the key fraggers, but Oni has been kind of getting swamped so far, I guess would be the way to say it.
Yeah, a little bit shellacked, a little bit dazed and confused at times as well. They've got Moto Hatch open here, and they're going to open yet another hatch up. So getting all those hatches open with the Thermite right now. Domi pushing up onto the stairs. A much more conservative defense coming out from Aggro here than what we saw from Arial Arise. Everybody kind of backed up onto the site. Domi with good droning down into blue has a very good idea of what's being played down there, though a couple of shots there, not finding Asian, but definitely nipping at his heels, taking off a little bit of health and making him feel distinctly uncomfortable. He will just hold that mirror window low to the ground, and I mean, there's still plenty of bodies. The Lamai Magnet coming in here is they're just going to start throwing grenades down in, and that I think will initiate this push into blue right here. We'll see what they can make of it. The smoke coming out already there to slow him down, Sticula, but still plenty of time on the clock.
It's going to try to play this one patient as ever. Such an important turning point for Arial Arise to convert here would be tremendous and would nearly guarantee the route back into this one closed off. Unless Aggro have got something that I'm not aware of. Silent sent DBNO under the 1 minute mark. Pressure really beginning to mount inwards, but Eddie will isolate one. The head of Woods tagged up. Now the case dropped inside of Moto hallway. Asian goes aggressive. Such a poor move, as Domi was still waiting at the blue stairs, but Eddie is really starting to go huge. You've lost Spiker now too. Still Silent DBNO'd. Oni's gonna try to replace his teammate who had over-aggressed. The swing, it's there. Still trying to fend this one off. Shotgun, but it misses. Oh no! Domi is traded out, but it's left up to Kicks in round number 7, and Og will finish it off as he's the eliminator. Arial Arise, They aren't stopping anytime soon.
That was just quick, brutal, dirty, nasty gameplay down there in blue. I do not understand what Asian was thinking pushing up like that off the mirror window. He had to know that there was coverage on those angles, but I mean, it was brave, and fortune favors the bold, but not always. Meanwhile, on the other side, Arial Arise just looking calm, confident, collected. That was really well done by them, and you see those kills coming out right there. Og on 12 and 2, an absolute fragger. 9 and 3 from Adapt, and I feel a little bit bad for Eddie because he kind of electrified a little bit right there in that round, was kind of hitting the form that we had expected from him, but it was just too little too late. As we get ready for another defensive Church Arsenal on match point here of 7-1 knockout for Aggro, which would be pretty close to a nightmare for them on this Clubhouse map.
There's a lot of different ways that you could slice this one, but it has been kind of Arial's map in a lot of different ways, and Aggro have lost out on many different opportunities. They just don't look like the team that we usually expect. That kind of like a chemistry that they have is seemingly absent, in that kind of ability to lean on your teammates is gone here. One would wonder if that's the impact of Oni having to sub in place of the usual Splash, because we don't know where Splash is. He could be, at the club or still in bed, really, anywhere other than at the game in the server.
At the club, yeah, maybe that's exactly where he is. Just hanging out.
I'm sure he has a good reason. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But anyway, Spiker driving in through strip, not going to waste any time at all. You can feel it like a pack of starving piranhas swirling around a piece of meat. The victory right here within biting distance for the entirety of Arial Arise, and what a victory it would be for them. The defense is set up. They do have this Goyo in the mix now, so a little bit of extra shielding being provided for them, but Spiker pretty much already has vertical control for free. Just going to start popping holes in the wall, trying to deny some of those critical places here as the kitchen push opens up. They get the opening of the hatch there as well. Spiker actually going for a pick there off the top deck. Won't quite find anything. He turns around and shoots the jukebox in frustration, but still pretty much uncontested up there on the top floor. This is very much their game to win. I say that though, and Adapt does get killed, and maybe, just maybe, that will allow Aggro to open this up and claw this back. But look at this aggressive kitchen remodel here, Sticula. He really does not like floors.
Well, that nitro kill onto the Thatcher. Sigh of relief by Aggro to have the opening kill and the ability to play for trades. But as I say that, Speaking of, Og charges in from the dirt tunnel, picks overstays his welcome, and falls as a result. Og still maintaining above a 6.0 KD, which is really unheard of. Usually it's not Clubhouse at the map that we see somebody just completely mop the floor. That's what's going on so far. Asian gonna play for Super Box. The nade is cooked. This would be the time. The drone is there as well, but the ADS will capture that first frag, it seems like, as both nades are actually gone now for Spiker. 4 on 4 with a minute left. This will be up to the explosiveness of Arial Arise. The hatch is being covered still by Eddie, so what you really have to do here is unsettle the player at dummies. One will drop, but in the meanwhile, the miss is there, and Woods is allowed to get the case on the floor. Og goes down inside of the dirt tunnel. A huge pick as multitude come out from Aggro. Finally have found some form. Dami will pick away one. There's 30 seconds. He doesn't have the case, though.
No, he does not have the case, but he does have a kill. Silent drops right there. Dami swings the corner and gets one. A smoke getting thrown out there. The last smoke coming out from Oni. 20 seconds left though, and this is a lion of a task here for Dami, who's actually going to drop in through the blue hatch, and well, he'll die right immediately. Asian actually playing really well on that round, Sticula, and by their fingernails, Aggro will hold on to this match.
Yeah, we're really on the edge of the cliff here, and Aggro are just trying to push back and stay on top for as long as possible, interrupting a 2-round streak by Arial. Something of their own. It's a 4-round spread between these two teams. If Aggro were to fight it back into overtime, they're going to have to play the full hand. Every site, tertiary, primary, secondary or otherwise, will all have to be shown here. And this is going to have to be to Aggro. They need to kind of just, I guess, have a pep talk at this point. They need to say, you know, let's get back in the game. It's not over with. It's not done yet. We're still alive. We're still on the server. We're still at Clubhouse, and things aren't done yet. You've got to be able to ready yourselves and kind of throw it all out the window, because at this point in the best of 3, what happened on Coastline, the difficulties of that map, and the triumph on Villa, they don't really matter. We're at an even starting point. A fresh plate and Arial have 8 up so far on Club. Looking like they're going to be the dream crashers for Aggro, who have been one of the top teams and were undoubtedly going to make it into the season. And their distance so far has been great. Seems like we've got more of an extension this time, even adding a top red hole.
Yeah, the extension is very good, solid. Again, just trying to make that fight in CCTV cache as difficult as possible. It's worth pointing out, Stick, that this is the best site statistically on this map in terms of defense for Aggro. They have a 66% win rate on Gym Bedroom, so this is a good site for them to get on, stabilize, get a win, bump that up to a 3-6, and maybe start this, what is going to have to be an epic comeback for them. You see Kicks all the way down in the basement, but they're going to invest some resources here to try and get the window open, the wall open. The drone will come out. Woods sends it in and it immediately dies. I can't help but feel it was probably the player sitting at the top of the red stairs who was responsible for that. And Spiker, well, he's in the bottom strip yet again, which has kind of been his vector of attack for all of these attacking rounds so far.
Let's talk about the pace so far this round. Fairly quiet so far. Looks like you've got the platform breach open, and so Asian kind of waiting for Arial to make that first move. ADS burn is there. Asian nearly flirting with doom as he works his way through the rotate. Maybe the call made to give this one up. You have to be so careful. Staying inside of cache could very well mean a 5-on-4. And with the likes of Og and Donnie on Arial, that can go out of control faster than you know what to do with. And Aggro would be in a rough way to put that one to bed. You've got Asian, who has managed to drop down the construction hatch and begin something of a flank. Aggro have got a little bit of offside pressure, but look at this. Spiker's sort of working his way in the bathroom. He'll check the angle. Maybe a loss of intel. Kicks is still focused on bottom main. The sledge could reveal something here, or he could completely shut this down. Spiker, there it is. Kicks. The call should be there, but Goyo is still worrying about something else. Spiker is there, an Asian for the assist to get the kill. The 4-on-4. You've lost that key player of Silent and the Nitro that goes with it. With Spiker gone, one of your key playmakers and that frag grenade gone. And at the corner, Og knows what he's capable of, and Adapt is there to kind of fill the gap. Shield at the ready. The peek around the corner. Bad move. Eddie is punished for it, but Asian lies prone. He'll go for the pre-fire, shutting down Og. A big game and a big trophy on in his cabinet now. 3-on-2.
Big game hunting indeed, exactly the kill they needed right there. It's been a slow, methodical approach through construction. You can see Woods here trying to swing this angle again. He's got a body down there, but he cannot quite find the kill. The smoke's coming out there to block the entry for Dami. Dami walks in, breathes a couple of those toxic fumes, and that's the final smoke thrown in. 18 seconds left on the clock, so the pressure on here. Neither of these two attackers, they're going for the split, but neither of them really seems to be able to find the right angle. Kicks, swings the corner. There goes Woods. Dami claps right back, though. Oni is here with the shotgun, and he will not shut down. Woods saves the day. The ace player comes in big, drives home the match point, and Arial Arise have conquered the mountain that was laid in front of them, Sticula, and they have walked away with a win over Aggro.
That is a yikes if I have ever seen one. The shotgun doesn't work at all at range, and it'll fail Aggro when they needed it most. Arial Arise, that fast map, a bit of a quicker one than perhaps some viewers were expecting. Will be sent home a bit short of the expectation that this game would go the distance. 3 maps all, but Arial Arise, a 2-1 victory in the end. Congratulations to them. Their lower bracket run not done just yet, still to face the loser of our upper bracket series coming up next. And that's going to be just one more game that Arial need to prepare for in what has been a amazing run so far.
I mean, truly amazing, Sigula. I'm so happy for them because this must mean the world to them. When their team looks like it's kind of on the verge of coming apart, this is a big game, and this was a big win. They played beautifully. They played like a competent, controlled, confident team, and you know, it's a rough loss for Aggro, but I'm not going to focus on that too much. They'll know the mistakes that they made and the things that they need to work on, but just major props to Arial Arise because they played so well, especially on this last map on Clubhouse. Such like poise in such a difficult situation to come through and get that win, and all credit to them. Like I was like, when they won right there, I was grinning ear to ear because you could tell how much that meant to them, like genuinely.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have kind of discounted Arial, but, you know, after the quarterfinals, something clearly changed, and Arial have played as a much different team and are really storming their way through the gates back in. I wonder how they will fare against the loser of Mystic versus Honor. It's going to be a really close game to call, but Arial just have this new energy about them that is difficult to shut down so far. Kind of that last hurrah moment that we talked about, and that energy to continue fighting on is clearly there and alive. I want to say, I feel like Aggro, maybe if this had gone to a different map, things would have been a little bit better, and maybe it's that sort of having the sub that really threw things off balance. Not that, you know, maybe Splash would have played better over Oni. There's some speculation there, but also the fact that you were prepared to play this with your starting roster. You were prepared to, you know, use all the strategies that you've worked on, the practice that you've used to try and build that up, and it's just something that might be too difficult to overcome.
It very well might be, and I mean, unfortunately, right, that kind of heads into the realm of the intangible to a certain extent. Particularly, we won't know, right, the impact that the lack of Splash had in terms of comms, in terms of strategies, in terms of team morale, what have you. But you know what? Arial Arise, they got a big win over Biblioteca. This is a massive win over Aggro. They are charging forward. They are a team to watch out for. And if I was in the next match waiting to meet up with them, I would actually be a bit worried because the confidence boost coming off of this one is going to be like to the moon in terms of where they're going to go. And I'm a fan. Now, let's take a quick look at the stats and see how they did overall on the round.
Clubhouse was such an awkward game, and Og really lived up to the performance. Look at that, a 1.84 rating. No disagreement. He is the MVP, and Arial played to their strengths on the map, and it worked for them. And a 7-2 closeout. On Aggro, things were a little bit tougher. I have to feel maybe Eddie was so uncomfortable today because his teammate wasn't there. He couldn't count on Splash and some of those defensive positions, or, you know, kind of that fallback when you're on the attack. It can be difficult when the chemistry is lacking. It can also be frustrating to know that you have to kind of work around that, and I could see that kind of upsetting things there.
Yeah, I could see that as well. And I mean, I think the stat line kind of reflects maybe a little bit of a mental unwellness, or like I don't know what the right word is, disorientation, I guess, on their side. I mean, even compared to their previous rounds, these stats are a little bit grim, right? We saw some guys who I don't think really should be in this position. Oni on 0 and 8, a -8 differential. What? Crazy stuff. But we've got an interview lined up. We're going to bring in Dommy here and talk his ear off for just a little bit and get his reaction to this exciting win.
All right. Hey, Dommy. Good to speak with you. Congratulations on the win, of course. My first question right out of the gate, obviously, you know, we've all been kind of active sort of on the Twitter sphere, and we've seen everything surrounding your reflections surrounding the game. How has your team's recent strength affected your will to continue playing the game?
I can just start here. I couldn't hear your question. I just heard you now.
Okay. So given the fact that Arial has kind of looked like a completely different team, much better coordination, and the chemistry seems to be kind of better overall, has that impacted your enjoyment of the game and your will to keep playing comp?
Kinda. Like, I didn't want to quit comp. It's just like this, I just have like a lot going on right now, like out of game, and I did not want to dedicate as much time as I am. And then like we were having a lot of internal problems too, so it was like really hard just like scheduling scrims and always having to cancel because something's always going wrong. and it's just
Right.
like there's a lot of just out of game stuff and in game stuff that just really like turned me away from like this roster. But like now that we're like pug stacking and we're just trying up for game day and everything's just it's a lot more like flowier and it fits a lot people's playstyles a lot more. It's a lot more fun.
That's good to know. One question that I had we didn't manage to ask last time is the fact that you are
Sure what's happening.
Technical difficulties.
Yes.
I can hear you now.
I wanted to ask you about the role change, because usually for Arial a long time you were kind of nomad insta-lock every single attack, but now you're kind of on more of that Sophia role. How has that been treating you?
I only heard the end of there, but I assume yeah, I moved to more like fragger kind of role with Spiker and Adapt on the team now. So and like Woods is always like dedicated hard breach. So I'm more of like a Zo player. Like that's where I perform my best on Zo, or at least I think so. At least so I think it's been affecting like how I play. Like I'm more like I just play better and it works a lot better with the team too.
Sure. Corback, any questions?
I do. You know, I have my kind of standard traditional question I always want to ask. Who on your team after this match, you know, big match, right? Congratulations, by the way. I'm a fan. I loved how you guys did. But who on your team would you like to single out for particular its awards? Who do you think really deserves that spotlight today?
Well, I think almost like everybody. Like Og on Ash just played out of his mind. Like he just finds ways to get kills. Like I don't know how. He just gets a 3K out of nowhere. It's crazy. And Woods is like the best clutch player ever. Like he just wins his like 1vx's. And then Spiker does with Spiker on the team, he does a lot of like communication stuff, which is really just helps. Like he's kind of like the IGL kind of thing. I'm not sure. He doesn't feel like IGL. He calls a lot. Like it goes to everybody. Anyway, and Adapt he just gets kills somehow too. I don't know. It's all crazy.
That's a beautifully wholesome answer from you right there. Thank you. Do you have any words for whoever you play next about how you guys are feeling and what your sort of expectations are?
I think we play Honor next, right? Because Mystic's got to play Honor right now, but Mystic's a lot better than them. So we're gonna play Honor. I think as long as we don't play Surf on Coastline, I think it should be a clean sweep. I think we're seeing each other in the finals. Mystic. What for them? I'm not sure. Like Mickey Mouse CL players, like they suck. It should be pretty free. So it's just a whole joke. Like they're gonna get relegated. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Dommy. We appreciate it. Stick, anything at the end here?
Nope. Just wishing you a lot of luck moving forward.
Really nice
oh
guy.
yes, gotta give some love to Rusty. Always see Rusty. Of course.
Our pleasure.
Thank you, Tommy. Have a good rest of your evening. All right. Well then, Corback, our first cast in the books, done and dusted, and Arial Arise moving on to the rest of the lower brackets. Here's the overall statistics. Og and Adapt, we talk about that kind of dynamic entry duo, not the completely insane, out-of-this-world performance today, but still a strong one overall. Spiker going 9-7. He was really involved in a lot of fights, whether you take that as good or bad.
Indeed, whether or not, but you know, the entry duo wasn't there, but everybody else was. I mean, you see Og, and we saw Dommy call him out, but he did a spectacular job right there on that plus 13 differential. And I mean, credit as well to the other side. They put in some really good performances. You see that plus 14, but in general, just, you know, a great day for Arial Arise. And Aggro got to feel that pain a little bit, Sticula, but they'll work around.
Yeah, and it's something to work on in the future. I wonder what this would have looked like with the full 5 starting roster, but that's not really anything that we can answer. Had a lot of fun today. We've had such a good run in the lower bracket, and it was a fun first cast with you. Very successful, Corback. I hope to see you maybe coming back in the future of SCS later down the line, but that's been all from us tonight. I've been Sticula, my co-caster Corback. We're going to throw it to a bit of a short break. We've got the winner's bracket final. Team Honor versus Mystic coming up next. That'll be Crow and Jazzman casting. Stick around to see how that one will turn out.